Huh? How we doing over there? How we doing over there? Think it's smooth. Go ahead and press a little reload. Let's do a little reload action here. I'm telling you, first they strike me, and then if we're watching that Jubilee thing. Okay, I think we should be good now on YouTube, on the YouTube side. I'm pretty sure we're good now. I don't know what happened there. That's weird. Like, things are bad when the real Bone Factory is here on the Twitch side. He even has, like, on my side, he has a nice little, it says first time chatter. Whenever somebody chats for the first time, it lets me know. Bone Factory is all like, dang, it's nice over here. Y'all got emotes? What is that? Well, oh no. I got denied for a kidney transplant. There's a mass on one of my kidneys. Oh no. I have a peripheral artery disease and cramping up from dialysis. It's getting worse, but at least you streamed today. Blessings. Damn. Damn. What's I mean, I'm thinking to look for another one. Like, damn. I kind of just want to, like, all right, just turn this off. I gotta go chat. um, I mean, do they have options? Right? No, that's yeah, yeah. I mean, but do you have options? Like, did you just come into the chat and be like, "Hey, bro, I got like 30 days to live, but let's go, let's get some brain rot in." That's fucked, man. That's scary. That's scary shit. Um, man. I hope everything turns out. You said you're gonna be okay. Uh, I'm gonna believe you, but keep us up to date. You know what I think about sometimes? Talking about that crazy shit, man. I'm really sorry. Um, and if you need any help, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up because especially with Ernie's reach, we could definitely get some funds. You know, some GoFundMe going, something. I don't know, right? Tay the Fae, bless you, John Stewart, sending prayers and love. Yeah. They say they can try a different kidney center, but is it because you're already sick and they're doing that thing that if they give you a healthy kidney, that one might go bad too. Like it'll catch whatever's going on. So they have to fix what's going on first, and then maybe you qualify or something like that. Damn. What's up to the true hero? All right. I'll hit you up, John Stewart. I'll hit you up. Thank you for sharing. Uh, thank you for sharing. And but yeah, don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be too proud. What do we got going? I was typing in Puerto Rican Spanish, but I do appreciate the Spaniard vosotros. Oh, that's what that was for. Yeah, okay. Like there was a difference between ustedes and vosotros. I agree with y'all in Spain. No debate to each. You know that vosotros is you know who else does that? Colombians. So Colombians and Venezuelans. One of those two. Colombians and Venezuelans, they have the vos. They do the vos thing. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that. Basically peripheral artery disease, has low blood flow in lower extremities. Yeah. So that's damn. Because they're like, so they put a healthy one in you because of the blood flow issues, they might reject it and all that bullshit. Damn. Left Face TV and Tree 69 talking about languages. I'm learning French so I can talk to Haitians and French people from France. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I have a dream. I have a dream that one day, not in my lifetime, never will happen in my lifetime, but one day all the islands of the Caribbean will be one nation. At least like so that one's like the one that's like maybe 100 200 years from now, right? I think we can get Hispaniola together. I I feel like it happened. We just need a couple more generations. We got to filter out all the Gen Xers and all the dumbass hate. We got to fix the education down there in both Haiti and the DR. And according to my homie, like man, the education is really bad in DR. And how awesome would it be to watch that become a single nation? That'd be dope. That'd be really dope. Um, make it communist. I'm in. Yeah, right. Yeah, I am too. Yeah, but shit, and that could work too because what would happen is, okay, all right. Here's how we can make it work. Well, I didn't say that. I don't mean we can make it work. What I'm saying is, here's how I could see it happening. The year is 2105, and the United States has fallen. And they went through an economic depression that they never pulled out of. There was a civil war, and it didn't break up into a bunch of different countries like everybody thought it would, but it's really just a shadow of itself now. The new world power is China, as everybody expected, and the global currency is the yen. With this, uh, Cuba has been allowed to thrive. Uh, Puerto Rico gained their independence, and from that point on, it became first it was an alliance of Latin American nation islands, and then it became a single nation, headquartered out of Cuba. Out of Cuba. Um, it was a lot of like there was a lot of tension and stress because uh, Haiti wanted to be the lead, being the first to shake off and break the chains of slavery and become an independent nation. Um, and But eventually it just boiled down to Cuba. There's still a little bit of resentment there because they feel like they were outnumbered as far as being, a non-Spanish speaking nation. Uh, but things are actually just turning up. It's everybody's getting better, and much like Canada, the Caribbean nation it has official languages both French and Spanish. So something to look forward to. Something to look forward to. If anybody makes it to 21, whatever it is. Yen is Japanese. Dong is Chinese. Are you for real? Chinese currency. Yuan. That's why. Yuan. It starts with a Y. Did you say dong? Is that like an alternative spelling? Because it's the yuan. Does this dream include English speaking Caribbean? It has to, right? It has to. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I said the whole Caribbean. Um, I'm not gonna lie. I was only thinking of right there. Um, I feel like the English speaking Caribbean would be like their own nation. That's what I think. That's what According to my college transcript, I know 4 years of Spanish, but if you drop me a Spanish speaking area, I'm cooked. You might be better off than I am. He's talking about dingalings. Yeah, I'm still stuck on that. I'm waiting for the true hero to come back on that one. Like, hey, I need to find out where you got dong from. Because it's the yuan. So the yuan is a global currency in 2100. My bad. 2105. In 2105, Tay the Fae will be 105. It is possible that in their dying breath, Tay the Fae looks out their window and probably looks up at the TV and watches the handshakes and the signatures of all the nations coming together. I don't know what countries. Hopefully, Tay, you made it out. You know, because you're probably being some like real shitty. You know, if we have shit healthcare now, imagine after the fall. Uh, yeah. I thought it's a Yuan. Is it not pronounced Juan? Now we're gonna sit here and make me click the pronunciation button. I can't leave Mississippi right now, so no telling. No, you got time. You got time. You know, you only got like 70 years for this to happen. Yun? Okay. How to pronounce Yuan. No, stop it. Stop it. Just say it.
Yuan.
Yuan. Yuan.
Yuan.
AI sucks. The little Google things. Yuan. Did you know that shit is not Yuan? Stop. Okay, what are we talking about today? Dumb bullshitting. Um, Yuan. You just Yuan? I never heard them say that. Are you sure? Yuan? I feel like it would be like Yuan. It's like, you know, kind of blended together. Why do I think that? I don't have a good reason for it. It just sounds that way. That and I'm laughing because I'm a child, but I really don't know if you're being serious or not. This is what's gonna happen right here. Currency, dong. The Vietnamese dong. Dong is Vietnamese. Okay. Okay. I feel you. Did you say that before? Yeah. Viola. I just saw that. Yen is Japan. Yuan is China. Won is Korea. Dong, currency for hiring Fed boy hookers. First of all, term is sex workers. And unfortunately, you know what is funny? Being pro sex, sex positive, uh, like if me and the wife went over there and just wanted to just go nuts, and then because my wife's a therapist and and she goes, "Nah, we can't do that." I'm like, "Why not?" She's like, "Because a lot of them are sex trafficked." I'm like, "Man, you gotta make everything sad," but it's true, and that is sad actually. Um, been hopping around Corinth for years. Oh shit. Okay, what are we talking about? But I'm gonna open up with a little bit of a feel good, of a feel good. Um, I'm gonna talk a little bit about. Yeah, we'll move that one out down the way. We're gonna start with Democracy Now. We're gonna talk about Donald Trump's. We're gonna watch Donald Trump's interview with uh, the South African president, which somebody actually said it right. I think it was M3 writer. He said, "Oh, I'm like, man, this is embarrassing. Like this is embarrassing." But he's like, "It's not embarrassing to anybody but for Trump." I'm like, that's true. Like, why do I feel embarrassed? You know what I mean? Like when he tried to embarrass and punk Zelensky. Like the only person who walked out of that room that should have been embarrassed is the person who doesn't have enough sense to be embarrassed in the first place. Speaking of sex positive, why is it that sex negative peeps all have stripper poles in their basement and take strip? Yeah, that's the regression. That's the I'm sorry, not the regression, the repression. It's absolute repression. Actually, I have an anecdote. And then we're gonna get into it. I grew up. Sex before marriage is evil. Satan's trying to trick you. Yada yada yada. Right. Uh, my wife did not. Okay. My daughter I raised her, sex is evil, God, blah, 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 blah. My son did not. No, no, it's not because he was a boy. It was because he's 4 years younger, and by the time he was of that age, I had already kind of grown out of that. And I did it right with him. And I wish I had done it this way with my daughter. I grew up, spent my 20s probably pretty unhealthy relationship with sex. Not like legally, just being a douchebag. Um, and my daughter made really silly decisions uh, when she was very young. My wife, they were just, it's not like they let her do whatever she wanted, but there wasn't a big deal. And they just wanted to make sure she didn't get pregnant and make sure if you're going to have sex, make sure you're on the pill, da 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 da. And I'd said the same for my son. And like, you act like, have you done this? Have you done that? And I'm like, no. Like, don't you want to? Like, nah, like, not really. And it's like, oh, okay. So I guess when you get to be raised normal, then you just kind of look at sex like normally. And 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 that's why sex negative people have stripper poles in their basement, you know? Because it's something taboo to them. It's something like dark and like you can't do that. And when you finally become an adult, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna go nuts. I'm gonna go nuts. It's why you see so many, politicians and priests and messing with other dudes. Because it's something that they've repressed, and then to the point where it becomes a deviance. Where if that priest had not joined the priesthood, maybe it wouldn't have developed and mutated into pedophilia. Maybe if he had just been raised like a normal person and not done something like join the priesthood, you could have just been a happy gay man. You know what I'm saying? Not gonna lie, this caught me off guard. Yeah. You know what's funny? Listen. When I was growing up, I always heard that Europeans are so much more. This was the meme, right? The meme was Europe is so much freer with sex. Like they have breasts on their commercials. And that's how it was, right? Like in the 90s and early 2000s. That's what everybody would think. And then as I met more and more people that more Europeans, I was like, maybe, but they sure shit are not more comfortable talking about it. Like I find like Europe, I know it's kind of a big thing to say, oh, Europe, right? But I'm just saying, in general, Europeans are very private people. I noticed that. Uh, so they're all. So I'm over here talking about like, oh yeah, da 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 da, and then talking about sex or whatever. And man, I'll tell you what, don't watch Nerds of Culture. We need to call it Nerds of Culture After Dark. All right, let's get into it. First, we're gonna watch this one real quickly, and then we'll get into Democracy Now. So I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember what this dude's name is. He is what is his name? You know what? Let me Google it. I know him as a few years ago. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago when I was you know into watching a lot of the bread tuber types. This dude's name was Big Papa Fash, like Big Papa Fascist, and he named himself that. And I don't know. He's like I guess he's trolling or he's Andrew Wilson. That's his name, Andrew Wilson. Um, Andrew Wilson guest spotted on whatever podcast, and I guess became such a watched individual, right? Because he is a piece of shit and the whatever podcast operates off of being a piece of shit, right? It's like, wow, I can't believe he just told that girl that she's a piece of trash that needs to jump on the highway because she's not married by 19 and a half, and so we watch it. But this is going to be a little bit different because this woman right here has been handed a jar, right? Because this is one of the things that he does, Andrew Wilson, that he hands her a jar and says, okay, if you don't need a man, open this, as if there are not ways to open that jar without strength. And you take the back of a butter knife and hit it so you can dent the thing, get some air in. They even have tools for people with disabilities or elderly people with arthritis. They have like the little thing you can put on top and turn it. But can you take this jar, the top off the jar?
You got to open it.
Oh, I have to open it right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's easier because it's an olive jar, though.
Uh-oh. Come on, you can do it.
Put it right side up. Just
You
so
can
it
do
doesn't
it. You
spill
got
on
this.
All right, bro. I can't do it. Here.
All right. I guess, yeah, Andrew, go ahead.
I'm supposed to open the pickle jar?
It's like a...
what a bitch. What an absolute bitch. What I find funny is that we both kind of do our hair the same, and we both got the kind of, we have to both have the same graying pattern where it's not as gray on top. He's older. No, he's actually a little bit younger than me, actually. A little bit like mostly in his beard. I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I do. This seems a little.
It's all fucking
It's just
slick
for,
now.
it's a little,
See, it
little fun.
is.
I gotta grip it.
Uh-oh, Andrew. If you can't open it either.
Well, your hand greased the whole top of it.
My hand are fine. Here, high five.
It
My
literally-
shoes are as well.
It's look, feel it. Isn't that greasy?
It was like that already. Oh my god.
No, I mean, you greased the top.
Use
Oh
your
my
shirt. Use
Jesus,
your
Andrew.
shirt,
If you can't open the olive jar, you cannot
Here,
blame my.
while-
He said she greased the top. I feel like PaleoCon. Where'd you hear PaleoCon? PaleoCon sounds like a douchebag convention of people who eat paleo, which is supposed to be like this diet where they like eat like nuts and meat. Like it's like, what would cavemen have had access to? That's what you could eat. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's not worth, yeah. Paleo conservative, yeah. Oh, the paleo conservative part. I have heard that, and I gotta tell you, I have no fucking clue what the fuck that means.
While we're doing
Hand.
olive jar.
If you're so strong, you should open it.
Yeah, I gotta be able to grip it.
Okay, we'll grip it. Let's
It's
go.
literally slippery.
Uh-oh. Back foot.
Grab me a paper
it-
towel so I can dry the top of it off.
Okay, once
Well,
the top is dry, if you still
but do
can't
we
get it
now
out.
need to allow her another opportunity with the
Yeah, give her the
towel?
paper towel so
Yeah.
that
No,
She's
I
not
think
that-
you should
he's
do
not
it,
that
Andrew.
smart,
You're the big
Bone
strong
Factory.
man. There you go. Come on.
we
Here,
just
I'm
gotta
gonna let
make
some
sure I-
chats come
Hungry.
through. We got some chats while they're working on that.
I'll let
Hang
you
on,
go
man.
first if you want.
No, Andrew, I greased it all up. There you go.
I can't grip the fucker.
Uh-oh.
Like, I gotta have a way to grip it.
Jungle.
Andrew, I'm sorry.
You need you need a way to grip it because your hands are weak. You know how you can really, there's two places to look at on a man if you ever want to like figure out if he has actual strength, like real strength. Look at his neck and his forearms. Like every time I see somebody who's like a stocky guy, I'll see he has like a little neck and little forearms. I'm like, oh, he's just built that way. That's just genetics. Like I'm looking at this guy's hands, and it pisses me off because I'm gonna get a little toxic right now. I'm gonna get toxic because, and yes, by the way, definitely a microaggression. I just caught it just now. It's not an accident that she's black and he goes, she greased it up. Shit, I wouldn't even get it. It's a macroaggression. Just no one called him on it. But there's a little bit. I'm gonna give you a little bit of toxicity here. What's going on, Flying Man 1814? Welcome. I used to lift a lot Back in the day, I was a big dude. I don't anymore. Now I'm old and fat. Okay. When I look at other dudes and I see these fuckers like this, it pisses me off because I can't kill all of my toxicity. There is some toxicity in there, and I've talked about this. If you've been here any amount of time, you've heard me talk about it. But this is your alpha male. This is the one who feels qualified to shit on women, and to tell dudes how to be a real man, and to tell women that they're weak and they're the weaker sex. And I'm looking at his fingers, I'm looking at his forearms, and I'm looking at his neck, and I'm like, dude, you are a weak person. And by the way, it's okay to be a weak person. Totally fine. You know, I think it's fine. Just like if you want to be a femboy and you're not gay and your girl loves that shit, do you. But don't come up to my face acting like you are the toxic male alpha dude when I look like me, 100% disabled, about to be 45 years old, could just crush you into a little tiny ball. There needs to be a big change at some point, because how long can the country sustain this? I don't know. And I don't think it is melodramatic to say that this is the kind of shit that has led us to this sort of to where we're at. A big part of it anyway, right? And somebody like, oh, you think internet alpha? Yeah, I do. I think the alpha male shit has gotten so crazy that you have whole ass dudes. You know what? We're gonna find another one here. I'm gonna give you all something else. Threads. What was the one? I posted it. And there's, in the video I'm about to pull up right now, there's no shortage of it. I have small wrists. It helps in fisting, so I'm probably... Anytime I drop something down the sink, I'm like, man, I wish I had little hands. I'm not shaming anybody who's like, I don't lift weights and I don't fucking care to lift weights, and I think that's totally dope. You are valid. It just annoys me. It'd be like if I shit on somebody, like it would be exactly like this. It would be exactly like this. If I sat there and started laughing at people for not having education and laughing at people for being like, you didn't go to college, you fucking idiot. This motherfucker didn't even go to college. And then somebody goes, hey, where did you go to college? I'm like, oh, I haven't finished my degree. No, I got like 5 classes away and then I stopped. Wouldn't that be fucking ridiculous? Like, this dude is shitting on everybody for not going to college and he doesn't have a degree. Like, what kind of fucking sense? That's what bothers me. Not the fact that he's a little guy. It's that he's a little guy pretending to not be a little guy. The right wingers did the same thing here in one of the regions they govern. They defunded the emergency corps. What happened? Less than a year later, they were hit by massive floods there in Valencia. They didn't have enough resources to get things done. People died and some lost their homes. Damn. There's not like a national service for that? Like if Valencia fucks up, then that's it? Or is there like a federal level that they'll still get help? That sucks. Watching the Whatever podcast and the Big 2-5. I can lift all day and still have small wrists. I'm a swimmer, not a linebacker. No, I feel you. Genetics definitely matter. I used to be an idiot and like genetics don't matter and you just have to work hard enough. And then I've since became an adult. They had a request out from the central government, but the right wing fucker that governs the region said it's not that bad. Yeah, and then more people die because he's trying to save face. Jesus. Hold on. It was there it is. Boom. It didn't take me long at all. Oh. We didn't get to the end of this. Hold on. This is great.
My fingers slip
Apparently, this is her boyfriend that comes up.
right off the lid. My fingers are literally slipping off the lid. I just can't grip it.
Oh, you can't blame me for my greasy fingers now. Like, go on.
It's still greasy.
Philosophy book.
Here, go.
Yeah, just can't grip them.
Okay, now I want it to be.
I got
on.
this,
It's like pissing me
Pisses
off.
me off.
Yeah, I know.
Should
it's
we have
fine.
Jake?
Oh,
You'll get the
Yeah.
same thing. Come in here, Jake. You think? Come on, you'll see for yourself. You
yeah.
can't get your fucking hand
So Jake is the boyfriend.
on it. Try it. Nah, you fucker. Oh, bullshit.
You fucking cry about it. Cry about it.
Alright,
All right.
I just want to say for record.
We got a little olive juice.
And by the way, this the only women they bring in here are women with OnlyFans. It's like their thing. Cause it's a kill birds with two stones, right? You get to see attractive women, and dudes fucking just sit there and try to shit on them. So this is a dude who has who's probably on the left because she's arguing for the left on this show, and then has the security to be able to date an OnlyFans model. Then he walks in, opens the jar for bitch boy, and that was good shit. But this is the kind of shit that no, what? This is the kind of shit there is no shortage of.
He's confused. Fucking pussies! That's what fucking You think you're fucking really badass, don't you? You want another one of my salads? Let's go. Take your shit off. Take your shit off. Take your fucking shit off.
It's like, no, don't.
Take your shit off. Take your shit off. Come on. Oh! You an asshole. I'll never come back here again. Come on. Take your shit off.
So you're watching the military, right? This is a bunch of dudes that are trying to become Marine Corps infantry officers. Is this the Marine Corps infantry officer one, or is this the Navy SEALs one? This is one of those two. Except no, it's not. It's a bunch of dudes who paid $20,000 to get screamed at. $20,000 to go get screamed at. I wouldn't even call it a scam course. Because they tell you what you get into. This is what's happening. Right? And they say, "Hey, I'm going to treat you like you're going through a selection process. And if you can get out of it, you're going to be a bad." Yeah, it sounds like a key. It probably is, actually. It probably is. What is funny to me is actually this part right here. Because not to like, I'm not trying to flex or anything, but I went through these schools, right? And I don't mean just the basic training part of it. Like in the career field there was a selection process. And this is the kind of shit they do. Now, are they throwing shit? No, they're not throwing shit. Are they saying let's fight right now? No, they're not saying that. There's a reason why this guy stops him. And the reason is because he knows, right? Because if you read the rules in the beginning, I promise on everything that if you read the rules in the beginning, they'll say you are not allowed to touch the instructors. That's what they're going to tell you. 100%, I promise. They're going to say, you're not allowed to touch the instructors. If you touch the instructors during this training event, you will be removed from the course. So this guy is getting screamed at, and he's telling him, take off your kit. But what's going to happen is when that guy comes out, gets his kit off, that's when they're going to go break a training, and they say, you're out of here because you couldn't keep you. Part of being a man is having discipline and blah, 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 blah. So he was just trying to get that dude kicked out. But when we talk about how, like, you know, if we want to sit there and talk about how this alpha male hyper masculine shit is not actually a big deal, there is never any shortage of these things. Andrew fucking Tate is still running courses, still wanted for human trafficking. That has not been done, and he gets flown where? He is not jailed. You know where he's at? He's in the United States of America. Who got him here? Who got him here? Who specifically? Which fucking president of a oh my god. Literally called another nation to get Andrew Tate here. Where the fuck is? I can't find it.
First, a warning. This episode.
It's 30 minutes there, man. I thought it was gonna be like a short one. Anyways, this is a problem. This is a problem, and Trump knows that he has his pulse. He says, "I'm gonna save this dude, and it's gonna make me look cool," and this is why we saw that bump in Trump voters with Latin men. We saw that because I'm gonna tell you something that I've noticed. I've always said, you know, when it comes to like hypermasculinity, homophobia, and all that shit, I always say black and brown communities. I know it's all communities, but I think Christianity has, you know, did a number on our communities. I think blah 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 blah. But I want to adjust something. As African American, as Black Americans become more educated, Black men far and away are taken off. Like I have never looked it up, but I would be willing to bet money that the amount of college of Black men versus of non-Black Hispanic men, which ones are more college educated? It'd probably be Black men. And now I feel like now we're down to Latin dudes holding on to this bullshit. You know, I'm on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. The power. I am live. If you are in here. Oh shit. Turn off the wrong thing. What was that? Yeah, anyways. If you're in here and you're just lurking, just know that I am live on both YouTube and Twitch. Oh, and while we're here, check this shit out. If you all go to the leftface.tv, we got some shirts. And I made this website. And I don't know if I'm more proud of the website or the fact that I designed all these shirts. Now, most of them are going to be like mostly letters, like written stuff. But I did that one on YouTube, that little rose. Maneater has one of those. My buddy Judah got his wife one. Definitely need to wear this one. I haven't actually picked this one up. They offer them to me at cost as sample shirts. Can you buy a few to give away? I want to buy the ones, the Sex Pixels. Ooh, that is a really good name. Like at first I was like, oh, is this a bot? Is this a sex bot? It's not a bot. The Sex Pixels. Keep wanting to say Sex Pistols. I'm still waiting on the Coalition shirt. Ooh. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I need ideas. I'm less of an idea man. I'm an executor. Okay? I'm an executor. Feed me. Are these shirt printed? Yeah. So basically, my supplier is Applique. I went and figured out who does like these sort of like sells by bulk these sort of t-shirts, and I needed one that was like environmentally friendly, ethically sourced cotton, et cetera, right? And so I found Applique. So Applique applies the shirts, and then they have a print shop. And so I make the designs, and so I'll make all the designs, you know, according to their parameters and 300 DPI. And then there's like what's it called? It's called like imprint, screening, what's the one called? Embroidered, right? There's like these different types. So I picked the most their screen. The more expensive one is the imprint, and so I picked the imprint. And this is actually one of them. Actually, here, let me do this. So this came out. This has already been washed once. This was in the wash, and I just threw it in with everything else. So holding up. Free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan, free Yemen, free Puerto Rico, free Haiti. I sent you ideas in Discord with pics and everything, but did you really? I'm bad with me. I'm bad. I remember one time, Ernie Ernie was telling me something about some show, and I was like, what? That's out already? And he's like, bro, we were talking about it on the Discord. And I go, I'm hardly ever over on the Blurred Koa side. He goes, it was in your Discord. I was like, oh, my bad. Oh, shit. Who's John Hurt? Oh, another good one. I saw a great vid making the case for Luigi being a counter-terrorist by ethical standards, and when compared to other widely accepted hero villain, 100%. That doesn't even surprise me. By the way, welcome Carpe Pax. Seize the peace. So when you look at things like Sherman, right? So Sherman, during the American Civil War, was a general who was famous for his path of destruction through the Confederate South. If you read about Sherman, if we hadn't won, he would have been one of the most vile terrorists the Union ever had. Like, he'd be famous for how evil he was. But because he was on the North, and we all hate fucking people who fight for slavery, we're like, good, fuck them. Because Sherman went down through there and just kind of like, just fucked everything up, tore fields, he didn't salt earth, but he burned down fields, burned down houses. Like, he's like, everybody, get the fuck out of here. And he went, you know, I'm going to burn down everybody so you can't feed your army. Can you ask a founding daddy question? Yes. And if I don't know, we'll Google it together. One of my favorite shirts says, equal rights for all does not mean fewer rights for you. It's not pie. Equal rights for all doesn't mean fewer rights for you. It's not. Oh, okay. You did Control V twice, and you made me read it twice. I feel like I got trolled a little bit. Inadvertent trolling. You rate that question. Yeah, but I have these. Also, real quick before I get off here, this website, I have three shirts that are that I will not take any profit from. I mean, I have to pay the applique back for their shirt, but I'm not buying y'all a shirt. But you guys pay for the shirt. Any profit that comes up over it, so this would be like maybe $12 or $13 profit. I would apply towards. For this one, it's the Hinton Family GoFundMe. For this one, it's Community Movers, Movement Builders. And then this one is the PCRF, who, by the way, gave me permission to use their logo. I just haven't updated the website yet. In school, I guess you obviously get taught a lot about Washington and Jefferson, but what about Thomas Paine? He was anti-slavery, anti-genocide, right? Was he a president? Revolutionary reformer, English-born founding father, French revolutionary, interior political. English. Was he died in 1809? So yeah, he definitely made it to America. I mean, there's a lot of shit like this out there, but I mean, just to cut to the chase here. No, I don't know who the fuck Thomas Paine is. I've heard the name, but it's like one of those names where it's like was it Adam Burr or something like that? Like they had a duel. Like there was like this congressman who got mad at each other, and then they had a duel, and then one of them died. And I just like, I remember that. I don't know why they fought though. But like Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson is one, yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised actually, because one thing that a lot of people don't know is that Thomas Jefferson like was an ardent, like people are pretty sure that he was an atheist. Like he would quote God and stuff like that because you kind of had to in that time, but he did not want religion in the government at all. But they don't tell you that shit. They also don't tell you that his favorite enslaved woman had a room whose only exit was to a door to his bedroom. He had a little rape room for her, and had many children with her. So I'm sure he was a wonderful dude. But we're not allowed to say that because that's American. You hate America. And why would you say that? Why would you say such a true thing? See, there we go. Thomas Paine I still have racist undertones in his work, though. I recommend, if you want to know the most leftist thing in the United States at the time that actuated their values, it would be the Quakers of the 1700s. They banned slave owners, and they would do tons of deconstruction of colonial mentalities. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I talk about this a lot, you know, especially somebody who's come out of that conservative mindset. If you think about the days if you think about that time, right? And people love to talk about how it was a different time. I'm like, okay, yes, it was a different time. But we had whole ass countries outlawing slavery. We had people, abolitionists. Like, there were some people who enslaved people because it was still legal. And there were other people who knew that was wrong. Like, don't act like nobody, like, everybody thought it was right and everybody did it and nobody blinked an eye. Like, no. Plenty of people knew the shit was fucked, and the process that they were escaping was not oppression. It was not subjugation. It was about them being upset. The business class, the owning class capitalists coming here, making tons of money, and having to give a portion to King George. And so they go, I got an idea. Let's fight King George. And let's say we are our own country. And we'll say something about freedom, and we'll have Mel Gibson do a movie in 300 years. And it's going to be so awesome. And we're going to write a constitution that's going to be all about freedom for white dudes who have enough money to own land. Not all white dudes. You know, let's not get crazy now. But, sir, what about non-white people? What about women? What about anybody who isn't considered white? Rich white men. All right, let's get into this democracy now.
Democracy depends on a free press. Please support our independent journalism at democracynow.org/give. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org.
Has it been a month, or has it just been a month since I watched this? Why is 4/28? It's May 23rd. It has not been a month since I last streamed. A month? It's been like 2 weeks. That's wild.
The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In northern Gaza, more than 50 Palestinians were killed or are presumed dead following an Israeli airstrike that leveled a 4-story home in Jabalia. Civil defense workers described a horrific scene with rescue operations severely hampered due to a lack of heavy machinery. The attack came as Gaza officials said at least 29 children and seniors starved to death over the past 2 days amidst a worsening hunger crisis brought on by Israel's near-total blockade. On Thursday, there were chaotic scenes as crowds scrambled to receive the first freshly baked bread in weeks from a handful of bakeries in South and Central Gaza. Israel's army said it granted access Thursday to 107 humanitarian aid trucks carrying limited supplies of food, medical equipment, and pharmaceuticals. Aid groups say at least 500 aid trucks are needed every day for 2 months to alleviate Gaza's hunger.
Yeah, this is actually probably not untrue. Like, I'll feel bad for not streaming. And then because like 95% of my audience here is from Nerds of Culture, you know, I'm like, I'll see y'all on Thursday.
Crisis. This is UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric.
The shipment from yesterday is limited in quantity and nowhere near sufficient to meet the scale and scope of Gaza's 2.1 million.
Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam has condemned a series of Israeli attacks across southern Lebanon and the eastern Bekaa Valley. Israel's military said a drone strike killed a Hezbollah operative late Thursday, part of what Lebanese officials described as Israel's heaviest attack since reaching a ceasefire agreement with Hezbollah in November, which Israel has repeatedly violated. In Jerusalem, a member of the Arab-Jewish Hadash Party was forcefully removed from the podium of Israel's Knesset Thursday as he condemned Israel's assault on Gaza.
You know, I gotta be honest, Jon Stewart. I woke up today. I went to bed at a normal time and woke up at a normal time. I woke up like around 7:45, 8 o'clock. My body's still not used to it, even though I got enough sleep. So I was passing out. She goes, "You got to go stream." And I said, I'm like, man, I'm barely able to keep my eyes open. She goes, yeah, okay. I mean, you said you were going to stream yesterday, and you said it on and you keep saying you're going to stream, and then you don't show up. I was like, oh, you're right. And then I got ready, and then my brain clicked, and I was like, yeah, let's go stream. But yeah, I almost didn't stream again.
This is the lawmaker, Ayman Odeh.
After a year and a half of war in which you killed 19,000 children, 53,000 residents of Gaza, you destroyed all the universities and the hospitals, and for you there is no political win. You feel there is no political win. That's why you go crazy.
The Trump administration Thursday barred Harvard University from enrolling international students by revoking its student exchange and visitor program certification. The news sent shockwaves through Harvard and beyond, with legal experts warning the move is likely illegal. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem cited anti-Semitism for the move, an accusation the Trump administration's also wielded against other universities when withdrawing federal funds. Noem also accused Harvard of, quote, coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party, unquote. In April, Harvard refused to abide by Trump's list of demands related to DEI and free speech on campus. Harvard also challenged a Trump administration order to hand over the records of its current international students. Over a quarter of Harvard's student body is international. Unless courts block the Trump administration's order, current students would have to transfer out of Harvard or lose their visas. Mahmoud Khalil, the Columbia University graduate abducted by ICE, testified in court Thursday that he faces possible assassination, kidnapping, or torture if he were to be deported.
Real quick on the Harvard thing. Racism at Harvard. This is 2016. Racism at Harvard. Months after protests began, students demand concrete change. For 80 years, the family crest of the brutal slaveholder Isaac Royal Jr. served as the official seal of the prestigious Harvard Law School. In March, student protesters at Harvard notched a decisive victory in their fight to decolonize the campus. 2 months later, many of the students who pushed for the change say the decision is bittersweet. The removal of the seal sends a message, they say, but it doesn't do enough to address the currents of racism on the campus. While we are softly applauding Harvard, let us not forget they are an incredibly racist institution with a very racist history. And I'm sure they're making progress. I'm sure there's changes, but a judge did block that. A judge told him, go fuck yourself. So that was great. Today, the Netanyahu admits he funded Hamas through Qatar was all the news here. And I was like, how's this news? And that won't change nobody's mind, by the way. That will. You know why? You know how I know for a fact there's going to be zero people who like Trump that's going to make them, they're going to read that, they're going to sit down, and they're going to go, what have I done? No, not one person is going to do that. Not one person is going to do that. You know how I know that? Because I watched it on 9/11. I was one of them. Everybody hating Al-Qaeda and all this shit. And then it's like, wait a minute. Did you know we trained Al-Qaeda? Did you know Osama bin Laden trained in the United States? Oh, that's crazy. Anyways, fuck those guys. You know, like no one who is happy about the genocide that's happening is that no one's gonna care. No one's gonna care. Barron got
after being, quote, mislabeled a terrorist sympathizer by the U.S. government. Khalil has been locked up in an immigration prison in Jena, Louisiana, for over 2 months after he was taken from his New York home in March. Just hours before his testimony Thursday, Mahmoud Khalil was permitted to hold his 1-month-old baby, Dean, for the first time since he was born. Hundreds of people rallied in Jena Thursday to demand justice for Khalil. Amy Greer, one of his lawyers, spoke to reporters after the court hearing.
So let's talk about one of the internet's latest rumor mills, Barron Trump and his college choices. Word on social media is that the youngest Trump was rejected from top-notch schools like Harvard, Columbia, and Stanford. Wild, right? It all picked up steam after Donald Trump casually announced in late 2024 that Barron would be heading to NYU's Stern School of Business. Not Harvard, not Stanford, not even Wharton. His dad's alma mater, NYU. His dad's alma mater, period. Take a breath, NYU. Now, some folks took that to mean he got the cold shoulder from the Ivies. After all, the Trump name and Ivy League schools haven't exactly been besties lately. But here's the catch. There's actually zero hard proof that Barron was rejected by any of these elite institutions. So we don't know. We don't know. But you know what? Yup. Definitely got rejected. Headcanon. It's a fact now.
As long as this genocide is unfolding and the ethnic cleansing happening in the West Bank continues to unfold to the silence of the western part of the world, he will keep speaking. And this administration can keep throwing people away, keep trying to silence our communities, but we see what's happening. Mahmoud sees what's happening, and he is willing to exercise his voice and protect all of our rights.
We'll have more on this story later in the broadcast with another member of Mahmoud Khalil's legal team, Ramzi Qasim. Here in New York, alumni from Columbia and Barnard ripped up and burned their diplomas outside their alma mater Wednesday to protest the repression of free speech and persecution of pro-Palestinian student protesters on campus. This is Jeannie Dubnow, a Barnard graduate from the class of 1960.
My parents came here to escape the fascism in Nazi Germany. My parents came here to escape the fascism in Nazi Germany. And now I'm finding that we are facing fascism here. And now I'm finding that we are facing fascism here in the United States. And Columbia University is opening its arms to this fascist government.
In related news, students and staff at the University of Oregon have joined hunger strikers across the country demanding their school divest from Israel and protect free speech on campus. Hunger strikes are also ongoing at Yale, Stanford, and at California State University schools. Elsewhere in New York, a coalition of military veterans and other rights activists have begun a 40-day fast for Gaza. The hunger strikers are gathering at the U.S. mission to the UN for their action.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Anybody who knows me knows I have been consistent. I have been in Palestine's corner. I will continue to be in Palestine's corner. I drink Dr. Pepper now because Coca-Cola is on the BDS list. I don't go to McDonald's, and we've added Burger King to that. Have you seen me? I mean, maybe I could use a hunger strike or two, but that would be. I think I might break at that point.
They spoke in front of the UN Thursday as they launched their fast. This is 74-year-old Mike Ferner, former National Director of Veterans for Peace.
Our demands are full humanitarian aid under the authority of the United Nations, no more weapons to Israel, to stop the genocide, stop the killing, and start treating this earth as though it were sacred.
The Senate has voted to block California's landmark law phasing out gasoline-powered cars by 2035 in a bid to combat air pollution and the climate crisis. The vote was 51-44, with Democratic Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan joining Republicans who used a procedural maneuver to avoid the Senate's filibuster rules, a process Democrats described as a nuclear option. California Governor Gavin Newsom called it a, quote, unconstitutional attack on California, and said the state would sue in federal court to block the federal mandate.
Can you imagine? Popeyes? Yeah, Popeyes good. Taco Bell, Arby's, Wendy's. Can you imagine looking at the air quality of California in the 80s? Compare that to now. And by the way, it's still bad. You still see the brown air as you're driving closer and closer to LA. And the state goes, hey, we have a plan we're going to shift to all electric vehicles. And then they're not going to sell gas-powered vehicles anymore. You know, because we want to save the planet. Okay, first of all, are there any very wealthy people who want this done because they have stocks in electric cars? Sure. But I think it's interesting that we have the sort of government that we have right now is like, no, you will not. You will not help. You will not save the earth. What?
Other states were set to follow California's lead with similar phase-outs of fossil fuel vehicles, accounting for 40% of the U.S. auto market. In more climate news, a new study from University of Maryland researchers finds the world's forests were destroyed at the fastest rate ever recorded last year, with an area the size of Italy lost to fires, as well as agriculture, logging, and mining. The Supreme Court has granted an emergency.
You know, we do not talk about the Amazon forest enough, by the way. We do not talk about that shit enough, and that is what's going to fuck us. When the Amazon rainforest is gone, that's it. That's it.
Emergency request by the Trump administration allowing the president to fire leaders of most independent government agencies. The Supreme Court's 6-3 ruling clears the way for Trump to terminate National Labor Relations Board member Gwen Wilcox, as well as Kathy Harris, a member of the Merit Systems Protection Board, which protects the rights of federal workers. The ruling includes a narrow carve-out protecting the independence of the Federal Reserve. Earlier this month, Trump rattled markets when he mocked Fed Chair Jerome Powell as a fool and a major loser, asserting that he had the power to terminate him. This comes after a split 3-judge panel at the U.S. Court of Appeals for Washington, D.C. cleared the way for President Trump's executive order stripping federal workers of their collective bargaining rights. The Center for American Progress reports the order affects 4 out of 5 federal workers represented by unions at more than a dozen federal agencies, more than 1 million people. The Supreme Court's narrowly rejected Oklahoma's bid to use federal funds to pay for what would have been the first religious charter school. Justice Amy Coney Barrett recused herself from Thursday's ruling, leaving the court deadlocked in a 4-4 decision, leaving intact an Oklahoma Supreme Court ruling that the proposed Catholic charter school violated the constitutional separation of church and state. Protesters
recused herself. Wow. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you think you have them figured out and you're like, you know, in your brain, they are ghouls. They're still ghouls. But then they do something that's like, who paid you? Like, you're not a good person. Why did you do that?
Gathered outside President Trump's Virginia Golf Club Thursday evening as he hosted a private dinner for 220 top spenders on his Trump meme coin. Altogether, the dinner attendees spent close to $400 million combined to gain access to Trump, many of them foreign nationals. Among the attendees were Justin Sun, a Chinese-born crypto billionaire, and Korean crypto executive Sun Grok-oh. Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren called the gathering an orgy of corruption. Oregon Democrat Jeff Merkley joined protesters outside Trump's golf club.
This is like the Mount Everest of corruption. Now, our founders were very worried about people buying influence with our corruption because they knew you can't have we the people government if it's government's being sold to others.
Federal prosecutors in Washington, D.C. have filed murder charges against the Chicago man accused of fatally shooting 2 Israeli embassy staff members outside the Capitol Jewish Museum Wednesday evening. Elias Rodriguez made an appearance in federal court Thursday afternoon. He may also face hate crime and terrorism charges and could face the death penalty if convicted. Russia and Ukraine exchanged heavy volleys of attack drones overnight, with Ukraine's Air Force saying it downed 112 of 128 incoming Russian drones, while officials in Moscow grounded planes at several major airports amidst attacks from Ukrainian UAVs. Elsewhere, Russian officials said a Ukrainian strike injured 12 people in Russia's Kursk region. This comes as Germany announced it has stationed a heavy combat unit of 4,800 soldiers in Lithuania, the first permanent deployment of German troops abroad since the Second World War. Chancellor Friedrich Merz said during a ceremony in Vilnius on Thursday the troops would help protect NATO's eastern flank.
We know that security doesn't begin at our borders. It begins where our allies and partners have to defend it. That's why Lithuania's security is also our security.
Lithuania is a former Soviet republic that borders Russia's Kaliningrad, as well as Russian ally Belarus that joined NATO in 2004. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy.
The rule of acquisition number 76, every once in a while declare peace. It confuses the hell out of you, and it's true. Can we pay a private army and have them escort federal workers that have been fired to show up to work? Each worker has a bodyguard. Yeah. We'll make sure they're a well-trained militia. We'll make sure they're all armed. They're there for the people, so we can call them like the People's Army or the People's Liberation Army. Yeah. I'm down. Fuck it. I think we're almost there. Just kidding, CIA. Don't swap me. Look. If you are, I said it yesterday, I'll say it today. If you are one of the, however, let's find out. And then we're going to look at the Project 2025. We're going to get a quick update on the Project 2025 tracker. Hispanic men, Trump vote. So of the Hispanic men that voted, 55%. I thought it was higher than that, but unless the numbers changed since December. But all those people could eat a dick and eat shit. Eat shit. Why do you have right-wing unions? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about praxis and getting change to happen. Did I just really do the evil thing? You know why I do this? Well, I'd be lying if I said if I didn't think it looked kind of cool. But my hair, because it's curly, comes down and then gets in here and then gets in my mouth. And so when I curl it up and away, it stops getting in my mouth. That's why I do it. So are there bad unions? Yes, there's bad unions, right? Like, obviously, the police union is not a real union. They're class traders and they're pieces of shit, right? But when we're looking at unions, there are going to be unions that are going to, when you look at, something like firefighters, when you look at loggers, when you look at, ship dock workers, are these sort of people out there voting blue every time? Maybe, maybe not. But I'll tell you what. I've heard, this is anecdotal, but I've heard many stories of watching organizations like the PSL or the DSA going out and supporting unions because unionizing is power to the worker. And then they start, man, maybe this whole socialism thing's not a bad idea. Like, if we can get socialist policies through, I'll never forget this one right here. Hold on, I got some. I'll never forget this shit. Hold on. What do you guys remember when we watched that one video? Was anybody here with the county, the county grocery store in Florida? Because the grocery stores wouldn't stay. I can't find it right now. But yeah, in Florida there was a county out there where groceries they wouldn't stay. And so the county got together and made a grocery store that was paid for by the local government and made sure it had food, and the people voted. They voted to make sure there was a place for everybody to get food. And these motherfuckers still will be like, well, now there's not socialism. It was people taking care of people. That's what it was. That's not. This wasn't socialism. This is just people taking care of people. That's why I'm happy to pay my taxes to get a grocery store in here. Like a co-op. I mean, I guess it was more like central planning, like central government type shit, right? That'd be more like a USSR thing. I don't know if the workers in the grocery store got like, you know, a portion of the value and yada yada yada. That would be dope though. Fucking commies. Yeah, but my point is that get people to understand, even if it's a secret. Hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna start protecting workers more. How about that? We're just gonna allow workers to be. You know, we're gonna make the economy a little bit more democratic. All right. We're gonna pass some laws that are just gonna take a little bit more power away from the CEO. You know what I think? I think the workers should be able to pick their CEOs. I think that there should be an election process in corporations, and the workers get to choose. I think there should be a law that says that out of a total fiscal year's profit, at least X percent has to be redistributed in the form of a financial bonus at the end of the fiscal year to the workers directly in their paycheck. And butt sex is Clara Majiggle Badunka Dunka Dunk. Not actual butt sex. What? But yes. You know what's funny about that? I know exactly what you're saying. You know what it kind of reminds me of too? Does anybody know what soaking is? Does anybody know what soaking is? Mormons do this thing called soaking. A fully aroused male enters a woman. We're good. So far we're good. No laws have been broken. I'm just gonna lay here for a little bit. And my friend is just gonna move the bed. And I ain't doing shit. Can't get mad at me. I thought it was Maneater has a Mormon friend. I'm always asking questions like that. I'm like, I need to know. I need to know if this is real. I need to know if it's real. Is it true that Mormon girls, before they're married, do a lot of anal? Like that's like their thing because that way they keep their virginity. She's like, yes. I was like, I thought it was like an urban legend, like some freak thought this up. No, it's a real thing. They do soaking and butt sex only to keep their virginity. And I'm trying to imagine a God who has like this rules on purity and looking down and watching like one of like, man, she is really getting it. How did I not think of this? How did I not think to close this loophole? This is crazy. Oh shit. Yeah, let's check this out real quick. Look at this. Project 2025 tracker. Almost to halfway. Got about 1,300 more days left, 14 hours, 13 minutes, and 33 seconds. But who is counting? The Commodity Futures Trading Commission is done. U.S. aid is completely done. There's 13 objectives for the White House. Some of them are not done yet. I want to know what the ones that aren't done. White House, cut off government contracts to entities that enforce a woke agenda. So they're on their way. That one will be done soon, for sure. Wait, in progress. This is completed. Anyways. Issue an executive order to reshape the U.S. Global Change Research Program and impose relatively high tariffs on countries that have relatively large trade deficits. That's happening, but probably because it's in the middle of doing it. There was a porn star in Virginia that did the most of her career butt sex only because she was a virgin. Okay. It's just funny the shit that people put themselves through. But it doesn't even it's not even logical. Like you're doing it to remain pure. As if whatever. I don't. Stupid. Wait. What's going on here? I just want to close this one. Am I stupid? How do I get to the rest of the thing? Oh, visualize. Oh, there we go. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. Yeah, but so apparently there's all the shit that are done. But yeah, this is the Project 2025 Observer. DOD. Oh, what do they got going on? Reduce U.S. force posture in Europe. That's not going to happen. Increase defense burden sharing with the allies. That's not going to happen. I really don't think he's going to bring them back out of Europe. There's too much money out there. I think true believers want that to happen, right? Because they want their little Nazi America, right? That's what Project 2025 is, to get their Christo-fascist United States. But I don't think Trump's a true believer. Trump's like, sure, whatever you guys want me to do, I'll do it, as long as it makes me more billions. And that one is going to be a bridge too far because there's too much military money out there in Europe. It's like, he's not going to do that. End congressional review of arms transfers to foreign countries. Wow. I want no checks and balances. I want to be Lord of all I see. Require all schools that give federal funding to give students the military entrance test. What does that mean? MEPS or physical? Like whatever. End Cybercom's participation in federal efforts to fortify U.S. elections. And Cybercom's, so Cyber Command's participation in federal efforts to fortify U.S. elections. Remove Cybercom from the oversight of the National Security Agency and bring it under Donald Trump. That's fucking great. That's great. That is super, super de-duper. Trump just wants money and legacy, so yeah, they're gonna defund Snap. Looks like it. Trump is a straight up grifter. Everything he does reminds me of an episode of Leverage. Sounds like they're scouting students for the military if they do well in school. Ooh, that's a very, very damn. That's a good observation. That's a really good observation. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We are, what do we go? We'll probably call that about 40% in 5 months. 2, 3, 4 months. So. Fuck my life. So this is the president of South Africa, and he is meeting with Donald Trump. For those who don't know, Donald Trump has legitimized the idea that there is a genocide happening in South Africa. There is not. MEPS. That's what I meant. ASFAB. I said MEPS. ASFAB is what I was thinking of. MEPS is the place. There is not a genocide happening. There is a reallocation of land, which is literally what land back is, and South Africa is doing it. They're paying the farmers for the land that they are acquiring and redistributing. All the murders that are happening to the white farmers are predominantly being done by their family members, by other white people in their community. But the public says, well, not the public, but the white supremacists in South Africa have been saying that it's a genocide, that they're killing us out here, even though white Afrikaners make up 80% of the of businesses owned in South Africa. So Trump, of course, being the absolute embarrassing moron that he is, says there's a genocide happening there. And allows, it's something like 42, 43 South Africans here on asylum. On asylum. Remember that we are mass deporting people without due process, some with records, some without records, some criminals, some not criminals. Who gives a fuck? Put them in a giant airplane and go die in the South. But South Africans, where this horrible genocide is happening, we need to help them out.
They say, David, he's a putter. He's a putting machine.
Shut the fuck up.
But it is a great honor to have you, and I appreciate you called. He called. I don't know where he got my number, but I picked up. He said, I want to come over and see you. That was my honor, and thank you very much for being here.
You're most welcome. Most welcome. Well, thank you very much for welcoming us to this reformed White House. I've been here before, and it looks really...
That's shade. That's shade. He's going to say it looks nice or whatever the fuck. He's like, now it looks fucking ridiculous in here. Everything is gold leafed. You are an embarrassment to your entire nation.
Really fantastic. I must congratulate you. Thank you. But I also thank you for allowing our delegation. This is a very mixed delegation that you've got. We've got people from government, my ministers. I've got someone from the trade union movement who we really collaborate with, and from business as well, and our sporting legends. When I spoke to you, you said, yes, come along and bring Gary Player, bring any else, and Retief Goosen. I brought the two of them. Gary Player, I spoke to him, and he said, look, I'm getting rather on in my years, but wishes us luck in this discussion with you. So it's a real joy, and also...
He's like, nah, I don't want any part of that shit. You go, you have fun. I'm gonna sit my ass right here.
I'd like to thank you for allowing your people to start discussions with us at the trade level. I mean, we are essentially here to reset the relationship between the United States and South Africa. We are long-standing partners in many ways. We've collaborated in many fields, in space issues, in energy, and in trade, and we therefore need to reset that, particularly in the light of some of the announcements that you made on trade and investment. So we want to advance more trade between the two of us, two countries, and our people.
And that's really what it's about. This is why everybody, honestly, this is a shame that he has to do this. But I talk about this all the time about how, you know, when they talk about how China's going to bump us off or China's going to do this, I'm like, good. We have too much power. We have too much power. And then, and for other countries to have to, please, can you please just not destroy our economy? You know, just because you're mad at us. Like, to be able to completely wreck an entire other nation, you have too much money. You have too much control of the economy. And I hope we get fucking knocked down a couple pegs.
Now have been empowered by yourself and by myself to start engaging, and we hope that we will be able to fuel that engagement during our talks. And we also want to discuss issues that have to do with how we promote further investments in both countries. We've got about 22 companies from South Africa that have invested in the US, thus creating a number of jobs. And similarly, you've got almost 600 companies that have been to say thank you.
Put it down, and she said, didn't she?
There's a part in here where he like shows a video. We'll get to the stuff.
Sign in Virginia. Yet she said she lived in Virginia. Yet she's the New York State Attorney General, and she did that for also being killed. So it looks like we have something very substantial. We also talked about trade with them in terms of rare earth and all, but really more for the. It's like if you take a look at what we just did with Pakistan and India, we settled that whole thing, and I think I settled it through trade. We're doing a big deal with India. We're doing a big deal with Pakistan, and I say, what are you guys doing? You know, somebody had to be the last one to shoot, but the shooting was getting worse and worse, bigger and bigger, deeper and deeper into the countries, and we spoke to them, and I think you know, I hate to say we got it settled, and then 2 days later, something happens, and they say it's Trump's fault, but Pakistan has got some excellent people and some really good, a great leader. And India is my friend, Modi. And he's a
mutual friend.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And I called them both, and we just did something good. We're trying to settle Russia, Ukraine. We spoke with President Putin for 2.5 hours the day before yesterday. I think we made a lot of progress, but that's a bloodbath. 5,000 people are being killed a week, 5,000 soldiers a week, not including people in cities and towns that are also.
Can really be peace. And we've been involved in the Ukraine-Russia conflict for quite a while through my Minister of State Security.
If enough people make fun of J.D. Vance's eyebrows and talk about the mascara thing, it is almost 100%. It is a sure thing that he will start shaving his eyelashes, doing the whole eyelash trimming trend.
It goes on, but I think we've made big progress.
Why is Elon Musk there? Why is Elon Musk there? And why is he wearing a t-shirt, a graphic tee, under a blazer? Right? I thought we didn't do that. Crit's auto appointment tomorrow. Shit. That's right. God, that's so annoying seeing him there. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, please, go ahead. No, not you. Right here. He's from South Africa. Go ahead, please.
What are you expecting on the ICJ case? Are you expecting South Africa to drop that? Is that what you're trying to raise?
On which case?
The ICJ case against Israel? International Criminal Court.
I don't.
So that question's a smart question, because one of the things that people think that Trump is doing this to South Africa for is for pressure, because South Africa is the ones who filed genocide claims to the ICC or the ICJ.
Expect anything, to be honest. I really don't. I don't know. It's they've got a case. There's a lot of anger there, tremendous anger. I don't expect anything. We'll see what happens. We'll have a ruling, and who knows what the ruling is going to mean. Yeah.
On that subject of Gaza, Mr. President, are you going to be speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Israel's renewed offensive there? There's been a lot of concern from European countries. The Pope has expressed concern. Are you going to be asking Prime Minister Netanyahu to tone down the offensive in Gaza to let more aid in?
Was that a question or a statement?
It's a question.
You never change
Mr.
it.
President, decide what will it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's, for him.
Wait. What was the question?
President, decide what will it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the president.
Why would you answer? Why would you save him? Don't save him. Don't save him. I can answer that question. What you're gonna do is you're gonna end up pissing off Trump because you're gonna end up putting words in his mouth because and he's gonna double down like Ye. Like, remember when Alex Jones told Ye, like, yeah, I mean, I know, but you're just a meme and you don't actually like Hitler. No, I do. I'm not kidding. He's like, God damn it.
It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
No, I'd rather answer. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me,
Thank you, Mr. President.
it will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it,
Sure.
and we have documents.
So you think he's gonna be like, yeah, he could have just left it at that. He could have left it at that, right? He could have just been like, yeah, well, I'm not gonna, but sure, I'll listen. Nah, we're gonna go ahead and just like we're gonna knock that whole thing down. Yeah, here we go. Exactly.
Documentaries, we have news stories, and is Natalie here? Somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and I have to. It has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
We have, let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
Nothing this parliament can do, with or without you, people are going to occupy land.
This is so embarrassing. Like, I watched this before, and you bring in another country's president, and then you go and you start showing YouTube videos of what the people who believe the conspiracy theory, they put out YouTube videos like this, and he's gonna show it in the Oval Office. That's fucking. What the fuck is going on here? Wow.
Require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. Yeah. South African occupy land. That's who we are. Honorable member, can we withdraw my membership from this useless parliament? Honorable. Yes, honorable member. Must never be scared to kill. The revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill. Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer.
Do you think Trump thinks is the president talking? Probably. So kill the boer. That's a boer is South African, their language for farmer. And I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people. South Africa, the entire African continent. When we look at Leopold from Poland, and look, even if there were people that were like, shooting at farmers and saying, get the fuck out of here, I'd be like, I wouldn't do it like that. That's kind of fucked. But also, it's like, I'm also not the one that's, been oppressed for the freaking last 300 years. They they come out of an apartheid, and the conditions for black folks in South Africa didn't even barely how to get any better. They're like, yeah, we get to take over everything, and there's still all these institutionalized white supremacy in our country that is not being undone, and now they're doing it. This is reclaiming land back to the people. No, I get it now. I get this is not about genocide. This is about the farm workers in the U.S. because we banned illegal immigrants. Our Hispanics, they need a replacement for those people. So Elon manufactured a genocide so that our white people's replacing those jobs and robbing the benefits of the work. I don't think that'll work, though. Because you know what I guarantee those white boors are not going to do here? They're not going to work for fucking $2 an hour. That's for damn sure. It's just a chant to fight the colonizers, 100%. And honestly, even if it was more than that, I wouldn't give a fuck. The whole thing is crazy that they want to bring in white South African farmers after fucking over white American farmers. But see, I have a theory to all this too, but I can't type it all out, so I'll wait till the phone lines are open. I bet.
The mayor of DA in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Sony will not be touched. They will be touched, don't worry. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness. So, kill Yamasa. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Shoot to kill Yamasa. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer.
Once Trump has enough power, you absolutely, he needs to sever his connection with the courts, and then once he can get over the courts, if that were to happen, right? If we're heading to the goal, you can bet your ass those reservations are gone. There is no way the reservations survived the transformation into Gilead.
I'm saying to you, what's not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I gotta see the future. You don't understand something watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter. They freak out. It sounds like a genocidal.
Yeah, true. So let me say something. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna give a little bit of a hot take, and this right here kind of made me think about it. No, not that one. This one. So it's just a chant to fight against colonizers. It doesn't mean what Trump thinks he means. I don't know that we're being genuine here. You know what I mean? I don't think they're being good faith when they say that. I think they have to say that. But let me tell you all something. When we say eat the rich, obviously it's not a call to be a cannibal. But it is a call to, when there is a leftist revolution, if a leftist revolution happens, you can bet your ass that just like it happened in Haiti, and just like it happened in Cuba, and just like it happened every other time a vicious dictator was overthrown by the people, there was war. There was war. And these motherfuckers that try to act like that is just this crazy, like this idea that they would be talking about machine guns and don't be afraid to kill and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, you know what they're mad at? They're not mad at the words. They're mad at the color of the skin of the people saying it because that is scary to them. But when Israel kills X amount of people and Israel goes, we're trying not to. War is hell. War sucks. But unfortunately, this is the cost of keeping us safe. And we go, yeah. When the United States kills 1 million civilians across the Iraq and Afghanistan war, yeah, sucks. War sucks. And we're so sad that happens. But when people fighting for liberation say, yes, by any means necessary, give me my land back, yes, I will fight for it. Then we want to pearl clutch. Did you hear how violent they are? Bitch, we are the most violent fucking nation on this entire earth.
Would expropriate land without compensation, whether they
100%.
If they object, they can seek refugee in America.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white.
My president is a fucking moron. Oh, we need a better word. I'm sorry. We need a better word. And I'm not going to do it. But I need some. It's more than a moron. He's brain dead. He's brain injured. He is a fucking ghoul. But not just not a ghoul, right? Because ghoul is kind of like, I'm speaking to his nature, his evilness, right? No, this motherfucker is looking up all the crosses lined up in a row and says these are grave sites. Do you actually believe that all the murdered farmers of this genocide went over and their families took them to a road and buried them? These are grave sites. Right, Trump? Just like the tattoo act of the Photoshop numbers are actually MS-13.
Farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers.
And the source? What's the source? We have a video of this happening. What's the source?
And those cars aren't driving. They're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses.
Yeah.
Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen. Okay.
I mean, it's in South Africa.
What a stupid fuck. It's in South Africa.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One, perhaps.
What are you talking about?
Can we have a South African question, please? Mr. President,
the Pentagon's going first.
I could never. Sometimes I think to myself, like, I want to get into journalism. I want to be a real journalist. Like maybe that's what I'll do in my final chapter of life. And I'll be like, I'm on my back half, I'm gonna go to journalism school. And I know that motherfucker's like, I have to get this story. If I leave this office and I don't get an answer to the president accepting that plane, my boss is gonna have my ass. So after we get done watching this video, I go, Mr. President, the Qataris, and everybody in the room starts yelling at me. I'm like, I'm just trying to. Oh my God! I'd walk out.
This has to do with the Qatari jet. They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing. They also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions for me. Go ahead.
He throws temper tantrums. He's a child. He can't even sit in his seat. Like he needs Ritalin, and he needs to count backwards from 10. Close your eyes, count backwards from 10. Breathe.
Go ahead, talk about that.
Please, may we have a South African
His name is
question,
Peter
Mr.
something.
President
He's
Trump?
a terrible.
If they're committing genocide, why invite him to the White House? I'll be quiet.
Quiet.
Sure, that's my question now.
Let's go.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Annika Larson from ENCA in South Africa. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you very
hosting
much.
us. What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation
I
we've
don't
just
know.
seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know.
But you know that there are
Pick
black
anyone.
people who are
White
dying
South
the most?
Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all. I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say what would I like to do, I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couple say that they were attacked violently.
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is?
Well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried.
President Trump.
And he asks about a jet that was given.
My first question
You ought to
is
be
about
ashamed.
Africa.
You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter.
If they're committing genocide, why invite them? Sir, if they are committing genocide, why invite the South Africans to the White House?
May I finish, please, President Trump? President
This
Trump,
is one after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get a report from President
Can you give us
Ramaphosa?
your reaction to those videos, Mr. President?
President Trump, would you?
Well, I think the videos are so.
No.
When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what it is. And I have other friends in South Africa, I have people that left. One in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land. They take your land and they kill you. It's okay. And they say.
Well, then why are there only 43 farmers leaving? Donald Trump put out. Hold on. There's a website. There's a fucking website. Hold on a second. I'm gonna show you all something fucking wild if you haven't seen it yet. There's a fucking website. Government website. South Africa. Oh, there it is. Nah, this is not the one. This one looks too official. But so the embassy and consulates in South Africa put out refugee admission programs for South Africans. Must be a South African nationality. Must be of Afrikaner ethnicity. They literally put in here, you have to be white or be a member of a racial minority in Africa. We will not accept black people from South Africa. We need to make that clear. We're putting this in black and white. Must be able to articulate a past experience of persecution or fear of persecution. But they don't have to prove it. They have to articulate it.
it's okay to do. Now, we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous, look, this is a story recent. These are all people that recently got killed. And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are and you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
No, nobody can
and then
take
when
land.
they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And
Oh my God! And you can't say anything. You just have to sit there and you have to fucking listen. And this is for the next 3 years. 3 years and 8 months. He's letting you know, no, there's no land being taken. The president and his. Oh no! Oh my God!
And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No, there is
nothing happens.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now
the farmers are black. The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black.
I'm going to ignore the fact that you just said the majority of people who are killed in the country are black. Yeah, but the farmers aren't black, and that's a problem. What? Mask off.
And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off. They died violently. And, you know, I mean,
those are his sources. I'm surprised there was no OAN on there.
Here, but I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake like NBC, which is fake news, totally one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if
every single, like is there any other stations? So yeah, what do you say? NBC, MSNBC, NBC, CNN, literally the news, all of them, the news.
That we have here.
Do you see a clip? Oh damn, I didn't even have that open.
But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it. But they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him.
Oh, that's a good one. I'll watch that after this.
A country give a free. Think of this. Why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay, the United States, not to me, to the United States Air Force, so they could help us out because we need an Air Force One.
Remember that if this deal with the plane goes through, remember that. By the way, in order for hold on, what did I read this? There was it was out where it said in order to make the aircraft able to be flown, right, as Air Force One, billions of dollars has to go into it. It has to be gutted, it has to be refitted. It's a complete time and money sink.
Until that's Air Force One is being built, 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish it did. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well, there are problems.
And this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States.
Those are all recent.
And
Those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly, you know,
He's trying. He's trying, but you know what you're doing? You're sitting there trying to have a serious conversation with a toddler who hasn't had his nap, and he's just like throwing himself on the ground, pissing himself, and you're sitting there trying to like tell them, like, imagine talking to that child and explaining like the economy and going into like, this is the reason we can't have McDonald's today, and they're throwing a temper tantrum, and you're sitting there talking about the economy, talking about about the father got laid off, and how much percentages are lower is your income, and you're doing this to not only a child who wouldn't be able to understand in the first place, but a child who's having a temper tantrum at that, to where the child can't even pretend to understand you. And he's really talking to him. He's like, no, I'm gonna, you know what I think? This is the president. You know what I think? I think that, and I know what he's thinking this, because this is the kind of shit I think. I always think like, nah, if I talk to him, and sometimes they're just people you cannot talk to, because they're not there to listen. They're there. He's there for clicks. He's there for this room, for these cameras. JD Vance forgot to read the script, and the other guy's just taking it.
criminality that we're experiencing in our country needs quite a lot of technological.
It was funny, is I could never do this with my ADHD. I would be like trying to be sneaky on my phone, forgetting there's 82 cameras in the room, and just be like checking. There's no way I would just be able to sit here and watch this silliness.
Capability. And in one of our areas in South Africa, we're using US technology, which is able to, in many ways, identify where shootings are happening and all that. And I want to talk about that, because there is support that we can get from you as the United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality.
I don't know.
And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a partner so that we can help each other whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course outside of the media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
I tell you what, I don't know if Elon Musk encouraged him for this meeting, but I would be willing to bet money Elon Musk is why Donald Trump is so sure.
Are there any other further punitive measures that could be in place should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the very bad things, in inverted commas, that you tweeted are happening?
Do you see how like she has to like baby him? You know, like, so going back to the screaming toddler that he is, you know, you have to be like, okay, if you go take a nap, you know, like, oh, you're such a big boy. Oh, you stop crying all by yourself. Oh, what a big boy. You take a nap. You're going to get some ice cream when you wake up. She has to like baby him. Just in case South Africa doesn't stop the very, very real and very bad things that are happening there, that we're not doubting, but if they don't do what you want them to do,
well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, and because of we're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time.
but that was actually my point, though. Like, Trump does want them all over there. It's not about. Trump said, "Come here." And maybe that idea earlier about the farmers thing, maybe, I don't know. But why only 42, 43, however many there were? There's genocide happening right now. Why isn't every Afrikaner jumping on a plane to get the fuck out of Dodge? Did you not see all those grave sites lined up on the road? Why only 43? It's interesting. It's almost like maybe there's not a Maybe there's not a genocide happening.
20, and that's a big deal. And it seems like, I mean, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that because we have a constitution. Our constitution
Did he say thousands?
guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are going to be doing
you're taking people's land away from them. And those people, in many cases, are being executed. They're being executed. And they happen to be white.
Oh my God.
Most of them happen to be farmers. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, and in many cases, those people are being executed. And in many cases, it's not the government that's doing it. It's people.
59.
Kill them and then take their land.
59. The government has officially granted 54 Afrikaner South Africans, but May 12th, a group of 59 white South Africans has arrived in the U.S. where they will be granted refugee status. 59.
Land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa. And it's a bad thing. Yeah.
How many Afrikaners are in South Africa? How many? If you Google it, you'll find out. I would have never guessed this. I would have said 100,000. I would have started like in the 100,000s, maybe less actually. 3 fucking million Afrikaners in South Africa. 3 million. 59 has showed up and applied for refugee status in the United States. Because there's a genocide. It's a genocide happening. So, obviously.
First, what can South Africa do? What concessions would you like to see them make to
He's going to say, I don't know.
relations with the United States? Then I have one more for President Ramaphosa afterwards.
Well, we just spoke about it. I got them a very, very complex machine, 150 of them. And I was asked by the president if it could help, and I did that. And, I have great feeling for all countries. I deal with all countries. But I have a great feeling for South Africa because I have friends. I have a couple of friends, a few friends here today. I have many friends from South Africa, but many of those friends are not, they can't go back. I have Elon is from South Africa. I don't want to get Elon involved. That's all I have to do, get him into another thing. But Elon happens to be from South Africa. This is what Elon wanted. He actually came here on a different subject, sending rockets to Mars. Okay, he likes that better. He likes that subject better. But Elon is from South Africa. And I don't want to talk to him about that. I don't want to. I don't think it's fair to him.
That's right.
But I will say that people are fleeing South Africa for their own safety. Their land is being confiscated, and in many cases they're being killed. And that scene of, you see how many crosses they have. Those crosses, that's a dead person in every one of them. And those trucks or cars are.
There's a dead person in every one of them. And he doesn't say represents a dead person. He doesn't say that's for every one of those crosses somebody has died, right? Something like, no. His language is very specific, and he's saying that those are grave sites.
Paying their respects to all of those dead people on a Sunday morning. That's a rough thing to explain away. And the problem we have, and the way, a correct and a fair media exposes things. But we have a very corrupt media. They won't even report this. If this were the other way around, it would be the biggest story. Now, I will say apartheid, terrible. That was...
What does he mean the other way around?
The biggest story. That was reported all the time. This is sort of the opposite of apartheid. What's happening now is never reported. Nobody knows about it.
Can you imagine how fucking offensive it would be to be a black South African and who has lived through, and if not them, definitely their parents, like the president? The president lived through the apartheid. Like, he's old enough to where he was an adult when the apartheid was still happening. Can you imagine talking to a bunch of black South Africans and saying this is pretty much the reverse, the reverse of apartheid? You know, like what you people went through. It's what they're going through now. So you got to think about that. You got to think about that. You know, you didn't like it, did you? And now you're doing it to them.
All we know is we're being inundated with people, with white farmers from South Africa, and it's a big problem. Marco Rubio was telling me he's never seen anything like it. The numbers of people that want to leave South Africa because they feel they're going to be dead first.
Yeah.
Yes,
I was going to say,
Brian,
if I could just ask you a question. 72% of farmers in your country are white. If they flee, do you feel that maybe the economy could collapse? You may not have a gap to fill in those people that need to replace those farmers.
You know, I'd like my Minister of Agriculture, who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you've just raised. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say we have a real safety problem in South Africa, and I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And it requires a lot of effort to get on top of it. It's going to require more policing resources. It's going to require a different strategy to be able to deal with it. But certainly the majority of South Africa's commercial and smallholder farmers really do want to stay in South Africa and make it work. And I've just come from the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere with organized agriculture and farmers, and the majority of them want to stay. But they have a memorial to those who died as a result of farm attacks. And as the Minister of Agriculture, it is something that I'm particularly exercised with my colleagues at police and my colleagues in the justice cluster to start making farm attacks and stock theft a priority crime. And it affects all farmers in South Africa, particularly stock theft. It has a disproportionate effect on smallholder black farmers. I also want to just say this, that the two individuals that are in that video that you've seen are both leaders of opposition minority parties in South Africa. Mkhonto Wesizwe under Mr. Zuma and the economic freedom fighters under Mr. Malema. Now the reason that my party, the Democratic Alliance, which has been an opposition party for over 30 years, chose to join hands with Mr. Ramaphosa.
Does anybody realize, has anybody noticed how long he's been allowed to talk and hasn't been interrupted?
Party was precisely to keep those people out of power. We cannot have those people sitting
captivated
in the
audience. Look at
making
that.
decisions. And that is why after 30 years of us exchanging barbs across the floor in Parliament and trying to get one over on each other, we've decided to join hands precisely to keep that lot out of government. Because the day they get in to the doors of the union buildings in South Africa or control of our Parliament, that's what you're going to see. And that is why this government, working together, needs the support of our allies around the world so that we can strengthen our hand, grow our economy, and shut the door forever on that rabble getting through the doors of the union buildings, because then South Africa's future would be.
So you denounced that type of language in the video that you saw?
Oh yes, we've always done so. As government, as my own party, we are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man? That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I think, I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, that he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia, they're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless, and they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. And if we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this.
He just keeps repeating himself. He's just like, it's really bad. It's really bad. I don't know what needs to happen, but it's really bad. And then their media, they're corrupt. This is bad. Did I say it was bad? It's really bad.
Because they're all guys like that idiot. But if we had a real press, it would be exposed.
What a
And
child.
the beauty of exposing
How
it is just like a
unprofessional.
cleansing action. When it gets exposed, it'll get fixed. That's when it'll get fixed. But people don't talk about it. And I'll tell you who's talking about the thousands of people that are fleeing South Africa right now.
We discussed USAID and the devastating impact the cuts are having across the African continent.
Yeah, well, it's devastating, and hopefully a lot of people are going to start spending a lot of money. And I've talked to other nations. We want them to chip in and spend money too. And we've spent a lot, and it's a tremendous problem going on in many countries. A lot of problems going on. The United States always gets the request for money. Nobody else helps, as you know. Europe doesn't help. Europe hasn't given anything. All they do is sue our companies. You know, they sue Apple, and they sue all of our companies. Apple had to pay $17 billion on a nonsense lawsuit. Very unfair. But we're going to always be there to help.
If this Afrikaner resettlement issue is resolved, and go to a room after this, you guys can talk. If it is resolved, what is the potential for the future-looking relationship?
It's fantastic. It's got to be resolved. It should be resolved. It's a little bit bad when you see a stadium with 100,000 people in it, because that means it's more than just a little movement. It's a pretty big movement in South Africa. So it has to be resolved. It'll be the end of the country if it's not resolved. I hope so. That's why I'm here. I mean, I'm not here for my health. I'm here to see what we can do. No, I'd like to see. I have friends. I can tell you, Ernie Els and Retief Goosen, they feel so strongly they wanted to be here on behalf of South Africa, not on behalf of me. And, you know, they said, can we be here for this? Because they love the country. Ernie, do you guys want to say a couple of words or anything? I hate to put you in this is tougher than sinking a 3-footer. Many 3-footers.
Thank you, Mr. President. And thanks for the honor of being here. We've known each other a long time. We have spoken. You know, we're proud South Africans. I still have my South African passport. You know, we travel with this passport, you know, and I got my visa here. So, you know, but we want to see things get better in our home country. That's the bottom line. It's been 35 years since the transition. President Ramaphosa was right in the middle of the transition time, 1990, and before that. So it's been 35 years of ANC government, and I know there's a lot of anger, you know, through the transition. There was also a lot of stuff happening in the apartheid days. You know, we grew up in the apartheid era, but I don't think two wrongs makes a right. You know, President Mandela, when he came out of prison for all that time, didn't come out with hatred, you know, and really unified our nation through sport. You know, we won the Rugby World Cup in '95.
4 times.
We won the African Nations Cup, soccer. You know, we won some majors as golfers and so forth. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, this has been a long time coming. That's why we really wanted to meet you, meet the administration, and see our way forward, because we still want to see our country flourish. You know, we've got some great things going on. Business is getting involved with government. Farmers are getting involved in local municipalities.
Browser. We need your help to stop this awful killing. But it's across the board. Ernie's right now building a house in George. I'm building 3 cottages for my grandchildren on a farm outside Graaff-Reinet. I often go to bed without locking the door. And we have a serious problem with illegal aliens who stream across the border. And if you really look at our statistics, a lot of these murders, firstly it's unemployment and illegal aliens. And then I met Vice President Bartz many years ago at Charlie Rose show. And my wife loved his book. And she reminded me this morning that you emphasized the devastation that occurs when big companies leave towns and cities, and there's a culture of dependency that develops. I remember you discussing it. Now that's our problem. If we don't get our economy to grow, the culture of dependency and the lawlessness will increase. I've been against apartheid all my life, and I'm their #1 target. Please just Google my name and Malema. You'll see it, sir. He marched on the farm.
But the crime is bad.
The crime is terrible, sir, but Mr. Steenhuisen won't admit to it, but he runs the Western Cape where I live. And the biggest murder rate is in the Cape Flats. Gangs. We've got gang warfare. Like your M33 or whatever these guys. We've got equivalents there. But we need your help, sir. And we need Elon technology.
Well, one of the real areas of support is really in investments. We've got to grow our economy, because through growing the economy, we're then able to create more jobs. Because crime really thrives where there is inequality and unemployment. And that is one of the reasons that has brought us here, to improve our investment
measures on the farm. Also, there's a willing buyer, willing seller in the country. Instead of people that are unemployed, that have, we have always emphasized when we were here and kept on coming and negotiating on our that the 600 US companies that are based in South Africa, as you said, President Ramaphosa, 500,000 jobs will be wiped out. We need more foreign direct investment in our country. We are not just talking about those that will lose employment, but we are talking about over 40% of people that are unemployed, that have no hope of ever finding a job. And we think that, correctly, as they have said, that we need to deal with the issue of porous borders.
He's bored. He's bored. He's like, look, I don't give a fuck, blah, 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 unemployment. White people are dying. That's the problem. I don't give a fuck about... Yeah, well, sir, if we just help the people out, then maybe crime rates will go down and the murder rate will go down. No. I need white people to stop dying. Gangs kill other gang members, okay? That's fine. I like that. I like that. Sometimes that's the shit I think about to get ready for when I think about Ivanka Trump. It's either that or Ivanka Trump. I gotta, like, one of those two gets me going. Now, white farmers can't have that. Can't have that.
In our country, so that everyone that comes in is documented. We also need to, and I would have thought that the minister would address the issue of land expropriation and how the policy works in South Africa. Recently, President, as you were preparing to come here on the news, in, I think it was in Natal, there was a handover of farms, and white farmers were saying, we are donating the land, but also there's a willing buyer, willing seller in South Africa. So there is no expropriation without compensation, but it is a willing buyer, willing seller.
And they shouldn't even get that. But I get it, right? You probably would cause riots. Okay. So you pay people for the land that was stolen in the first place. Fine. But then they're going to lie and say that it's just being ripped from them. No. They're getting paid market value for their property.
And that white farmer was even saying, President, that the government is even paying more in buying the land than what the land is worth of. And I think those are the realities, President, that we must say that we need to address, of course, but also the importance of agriculture linked to AGOA. People rely on it, and I think, as Retief have said, for survival and living. But lastly, for me, President, is also the issue of the crime statistics. There is no doubt about it that we are a violent nation, for a number of reasons, and we're not condoning anything. But also, if you go into the rural areas where black majority are, you would see women, elderly, being raped, being killed, being murdered, and these are black elderly women that would be found throat slits, raped multiple times, and all of that. And the problem in South Africa, it is not necessarily about race, but it is about crime. And we think that we are here to say, how do we, both nations, work together to reset, to really talk about investment, but also help us in how we can have the technology and everything that is needed, President, to really address the levels of crime that we...
Okay, chill. If you guys need to just hit the ignore button. You could ignore each other. The true hero is not a Nazi, and the first comment was, I feel, and I could be wrong, I don't talk for anybody, but more about China than communism in general. And yeah, maybe there is a problem with Chinese exploitation of the African continent as well. But yeah, nobody here's a Nazi, and just you could just hit the ignores. Not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
We have in our country. Thank you very much for your
Genocide is a very strong word. I'm wondering if you've made up your mind as to whether you believe genocide is occurring in South Africa, or you still have doubts. And if you have made up your mind, why invite President Ramaphosa here today for this conversation?
Well, I haven't made up my mind. I hate to see it from the standpoint of South Africa, but also, I'm trying to save lives. I'm working.
Wait, what is it? What is it? Did he?
In South Africa, or you still have doubts. And if you have made up your mind, why invite President Ramaphosa here today for this conversation?
Well, I haven't made up my mind. I hate to see it from the
Haven't
standpoint
made
of
it. He
South
has
Africa,
not.
But also, I'm trying to save lives. I'm working with Russia and Ukraine. I don't have to do that. It's not our war. It was started by other people. Something along by our past administration, and it would have never happened if I were president. But I'm trying to save lives, no matter where. Rwanda, I have nothing to do with Rwanda and the Congo, but I felt I had a very talented person in this administration, and I sent him there, and he did an unbelievable job. I think. I mean, we're going to find out, but he's done the hardest part of the job. It should happen. If I can save lives, I want to save the lives. If it's in Africa, that's great. If it's in Europe, if it's wherever it may be. And
see, this is the kind of shit that that makes them say dumb fuck stuff like he's trying to create world peace, because you have racist white supremacists, whether they know it or not, right? Some people are, like I said yesterday, like some people know it. They shave their heads. They put on red shoelaces, and they get swastika tattoos, right? Some people don't know it. They just like, hey, I just want to love everybody. I hate anti-white genocide. I think it's bad. I'm sorry, that type of shit. And so when you look at how these people look at Trump, they're looking at this as like he's trying to stop murders in South Africa, and they're being mad. They're mad at him for it. Can you imagine? Like how I said earlier, like, can you imagine being mad at somebody for trying to stop murders in South Africa? Gasp. No, dumb fuck. You are being reductive. You are missing the point, and you are promoting a conspiracy theory. This is what everybody there is saying. Everybody on the South African side is saying, by the way, South Africa is pretty fucking violent right now. Notice not one of them are saying, what are you talking about? Hey, it's fine. It's fine. Hey, but there's no genocide. Everything is good over here. No, every single one of them are like, yeah, it's pretty fucking bad over here. It's bad. That's what she was saying. Black elderly woman getting raped and murdered. It's pretty fucking bad. But it's bad because of poverty. It's bad because of institutionalized racism. And he needs, for his constituents, for his voters, he needs to remain focused on the white part of it, on the white genocide. If a nuclear bomb hit South Africa right now and wiped out everybody, he would say, isn't it a shame all those white people died? He's telling you the whole truth right there. Because I want you to understand that Donald Trump has not said something. Every single time one of the other people talk about the crime that also happens in the country, you notice he doesn't like say that it's not true. He doesn't say like, no, not like this. This is way more than the rest of what's happening in the country. He doesn't say that. What he says is, but your farmers are white. He is letting you know, I don't give a fuck about anybody who is dying that is not white. What are you going to do about it? Emperor Palpatine said he wanted to bring peace to the galaxy. The prequels. This guy is a fucking meme. Cartoons have been warning us about Trump. Star Wars has been warning us about Trump. By the way, I started Andor. Man, I'm so upset at myself for sleeping on that. So, yeah.
It's a very small investment to do, believe me, compared to what the consequences are. So I hope we can do something. Look, I have so many friends. These two men, I have great admiration for them because I know what they do for a living. And that's a very hard living. Going from city to city, from country to country, and hitting a ball 350 yards like they do, and getting the ball in the hole. It's a very tough, with lots of people watching. Right? It's a very tough living.
Oh wow!
They're champions. I respect champions.
It's not your first watch, right? You're just going through it again to be ready for Andor.
And I respect very much, and I think the country is very lucky. They really wanted to be here. They could be elsewhere. They could be on a beautiful fairway someplace, and they wanted to be here. So.
All right, yeah, shut the fuck up. You're a white supremacist. You tell everybody all the time. Yeah. Okay. And y'all really going in at it. Look, unless somebody's breaking TOS or being crazy, I'm not gonna get involved in the grown folks' business. Y'all are adults here. If y'all want to argue, then argue. If the mods want to shut it down, the mods can shut it down. But unless somebody's being racist or some shit, that's not something I feel like I need to get involved with. So Charlie Kirk, famous for debating college students, debating people who aren't ready to knock down all of his talking points that he just repeats over and over and over and over and over again. But he made a mistake. See, what a lot of people don't understand is that debate is a skill. It is a literal competition. It is a sport. And it really has little to do with whether or not the thing that you are debating is right or wrong. That's why when you get into debate class or you go to you get into a debate competition, you're going to get given topics. You're going to be told this is pro-life, you are not pro-life, and you're going to argue for pro-life. You're like, okay, bet. That's my assignment. And you could win that pro-life argument, that debate, that competition, because you debated well and you avoided logical fallacies and you didn't break the rules of debate. And then you walk away not being a pro-lifer. So whatever, I got into this online, but they're like, oh well, let me on your stream. I'll show up on your stream and you will debate about it. I'm like, I don't really do that. I don't do that. Could I out-talk him? Do I know enough about the subject? Sure, maybe. But if I didn't, if I stuttered, if I wasn't ready to answer something, that means I'm wrong? No. Finally, we see it happen on the reverse side. I know that a lot of people are saying that we shouldn't be platforming them, and there's probably a good point to that. I get it. But in this specific instance, we're not talking about Jubilee or some shit. In this specific instance, we're talking about him trying that bullshit on kids from Cambridge. One of the clips we're going to see, because I couldn't find the whole thing. I'd probably be on a paywall or something. But there's 3 clips here. One of them is against a professor. It's wild. I do think debates have debates have value. And here's where I think debates are valuable. I think debates are valuable when it comes to positions that are not like empirically found. You know what I mean? Like, you don't debate the atomic structure of salt. You know what I mean? There's no debate about that. But maybe there's a debate on which policy would most benefit this group of people. Well, that's going to be like, okay, now if I'm somebody who needs to go to the poll and vote for policy A or policy B, then I am expecting both of them to try as hard as possible within the rules of debate to put out as much information that they have to make convincing arguments. That way I could take information and filter it through my principles, through my ethics and morality, and then make a decision. But you're right. It's that last part is the thing that people don't do. And that's why they equate debate with being right or wrong. You know what I mean? It's going to absolutely if you don't have that last part and you are looking for your morality and ethics in your favorite streamer, and if it's Charlie Kirk, then you're fucking lost anyway. You need to have developed your own ethics and morality, your own framework, your own filter, and you have to be confident with that. And if you're not, then you don't need to be worried about listening to debates. You need to learn about finding where you are in how you're going to look at the world. What is your worldview? Now, at 44 years old, I am pretty fucking well established on my worldview. I am confident that I have morally sound positions, but, and this is where debate comes in, but I don't know everything. I mean, hell, there's an argument right now about communism. I know communists aren't the bad guys, but do I think for 2 seconds I could survive a debate? You know what I mean? On from an economist explaining to me why communism doesn't work. Could I do that? If I had to choose between a communist policy and a capitalist policy, but they're not labeled as such, they're just two policies. And I'm like, man, I don't want to, and then let's say somebody who respects me, like my kid or somebody, or my wife's like, hey, can you help explain this to me? I'm going to be like, this is not my area of expertise. So you know what I would love? I would love a debate. That's what I would do. I would love a debate. I would love for two people to go, you know what? Go for it. And then I'm going to sit there looking, and it's going to hit all my filters. On Palestine, there's a dude, there's Elon Pape, but there's somebody else. Popular, what do they call him? New historian, Zionist, progressive. Yeah, that's gonna come up. That's gonna come up. Benny Morris. Yeah, I knew that would do it. Benny Morris is a very popular, lifelong historian of Israel. I wanted to hear his position because he calls himself a progressive Zionist. So of course I don't want a right-wing Zionist because obviously I don't agree with anything that you have to say. I wanted to know, how does a progressive person get to Zionism? And so I sat and I listened to him, and I listened to his debates. That's why I think debates can be useful. I don't think you should go to debates to figure out things that aren't opinions, but I think it's good to get information from. Which one is this one?
Family and
He had Ron Weasley in here. Ron Weasley went off. Is this the whole thing? Is it Ron Weasley? Yeah, he does. Ron Weasley hangs in there for 15 minutes. God damn. All right, let's do it.
Good evening, Mr. Kirk. You've obviously devoted a lot of your life to electing, keeping in power Donald Trump, and you did so partly because you said Trump would put Americans first and take them out of foreign conflicts. Shall we see how that is going at the moment? Currently, Trump has just accepted a $400 million debt from Qatar, which we're assured is perfectly
yeah, no.
Billions in arms are going to Saudi Arabia, which they're using to bomb and starve Yemeni children. Not sure how that's in the interest of the United States, but
I probably would end up in jail, actually. There's only two ways I go through that. I go through that thing, and it's in jail. They're both lost, right? I lose no matter what. I'm either in jail because I assaulted somebody, or I walk out and I've lost, and I'm a coward and I ran away or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there's no fucking way. I won't say you can't pay me enough, because you definitely could pay me enough, but it would be a lot. It would have to be a lot.
it might be in the interest of the $5.5 billion deal his failed sons are receiving. At the same time, this great president of peace has greenlit mass killings not just in Yemen, but in Gaza, where he greenlit an invasion called Operation Gideon's Chariot, with the express aim of wiping out the Gazan population. You promised to put America first. Haven't you and your ilk sold America out?
That's the kind of shit that I think about too. I'm very comfortable right here. I remember when I first started streaming, I was nervous, but right here, I'm super comfortable. In there, if I had to, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure the mic would be shaking until I did it enough times to where I could be comfortable.
No. Well, I'm glad you have great intellectual substance and can answer. Because it's all the culture wars for you, isn't it? The second someone actually tells you what you're doing, which is bread.
Can you calm down a little bit? Like, just a little bit? Pounding the table, you're all over the place. No. You want me to go piece by piece? Or would you like me to talk slower?
I think you can...
Number one, Donald Trump is convening a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. Joe Biden gave them armaments.
That's going well, isn't it?
It's going well. Can you not interrupt me? Well. I allowed you to talk uninterrupted.
You're famous for not interrupting.
Yeah, I haven't interrupted a single person here today. Can I speak uninterrupted, actually? Okay. He is convening a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. I believe we will see an end to that war. Number two, he's actually talking to Iran and discouraging Israel to strike the interior of Iran, and has stopped many other international countries to do the same. Number three, can you give him credit for ending the Indian-Pakistan war?
Both of them said he didn't do that.
Well, hold on a second.
Let's go back.
No, that's important.
Russia, Ukraine.
Hold on, that's important.
Can I speak now?
Yes, but the Indian-Pakistan thing, you got to go deeper than that.
Let's go in order. Is a peace summit where the main person in question, Russia, doesn't show up, is that a success, Mr. Kirk?
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure.
Is that a success?
Well, again, these are ongoing negotiations, and it's a lot better than when your Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, went alongside our Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, to Istanbul and unnecessarily blew up a potential Russian peace deal, which has resulted in hundreds of thousands of dead Ukrainians, one of the great unnecessary wars of the modern era. Donald Trump believes in conversation and police through strength. He has been president for well over 120 to 130 days, and he has already ended a war between two nuclear conflicts of India-Pakistan. He has secured our own U.S. southern border.
Why does he reject India and Pakistan? Said that wasn't because of Trump. And then what does Pakistan do? Pakistan reaffirms their relationship with China afterwards. So clearly it wasn't fucking Trump.
While we were being invaded by foreign powers. And thirdly, he is brokering a potential settlement with Iran that will prevent a major escalation in the Middle East. And finally, it is very difficult, but I believe they'll get it done, that we'll finally see an end to the Russian-Ukrainian war.
I'm just going to disregard the enormous lies you just put out there about Russia and Ukraine. Okay. But do you really think leverage, negotiations work if you cut off all your leverage and scream at one party in the Oval Office? Don't you think that has just emboldened Russia? Because look at the approach. Putin thinks so much of your glorious president, he can't even be asked to show up. you have elected or help elect somebody who is at best an idiot and at worst is deeply corrupt.
Okay, again, so Trump and Putin had a 2-hour phone call today. You'll acknowledge that's a good thing. The pursuit of peace can sometimes be a
Why would a 2-hour conversation be a good thing? Wouldn't it matter what they talked about? You don't even know the content, though. Yeah, probably more secrets, more shit, more. I just want to let you know that you are so awesome. I love you so much.
winding road, and it's a lot better than sending hundreds of billions of dollars further into the killing fields of eastern Ukraine, something that tragically both the UK government and the US government has been unnecessarily supporting for a couple of years. President Trump wants to see a brokerage, an ending of this settlement. I pray we can get it. It's very complicated because of the mess that Joe Biden left, which was an active kinetic war with a nuclear power sending American-made missiles into the interior of Russia. So President Trump...
And they're still striking right now. Literally right now. When we watch Democracy Now!, what do they say? That they had to ground all aircraft and they had to stop flights because Ukraine was fucking up their airfields right now. Right now. What these people just talk. They just say shit. And it's not like Democrats don't do that either, right? You know, Biden said that they were working around the clock, and now we know for sure that was not happening, right? That's what recently came out. Like, no, they never asked us to do a ceasefire. That was not part of what Biden was doing. These motherfuckers come out here and say anything, and then their ardent supporters come out and just say, yep, this is what happened. Well, how do you know that? Because he said it happened. That's how I know.
Trump has already ended a war. He's ended an invasion. He's only 130 days into this. And I believe, we do not know. At this point, we are merely speculating, which I think we should not spend our time doing that, because eventually one of us will be right. I believe we'll be right, and I believe we'll see an end to this war.
Can we just talk about 100 billions worth of weapons? Because you dodged my question on what was going on in the Middle East, where Trump has just signed enormous arms contracts with Saudi Arabia and with Qatar. And I noticed you ignored the fact that this might have had anything to do with the blatant corruption going on through the Trump coin and going on through giving the very competent sons of Donald Trump billions of investment from Saudi Arabia and Qatar. This is something that is directly embroiling Americans into conflict, but is importantly killing many innocent people. Those nations have been known to terrorize innocent civilian populations. So if you're coming to me and you're objecting to America selling weaponry, why are you defending shilling for the Saudis?
Well, hold on. One is sending weaponry, one is purchasing. Secondly, you do know that the biggest purchase that was announced was commercial airliners, 737, $100 billion. We've heard of Qatar Airways. They purchased $100 billion of commercial airways. You are right, there were some weapons contracts. But I guess the question is, would you rather have Saudi Arabia buy weapons from America or China?
I'd rather they not have American weaponry at cut price rates.
See, I disagree.
Let's talk about Qatar for a second.
Okay, fine.
You mentioned Qatar.
Hey, look. Child human trafficking is gonna happen, all right? Child sex trafficking is gonna happen. I mean, who do you want to be making the money off of? America or China? Right? Of course we have to sell children. You don't want China fucking benefiting from this? Fucking moron.
In talking a lot about Hamas and the evils of Hamas, can I ask you, who's the main funder of Hamas?
Well, the Palestine state. Well, the West actually funds Hamas.
Which state?
Well, Iran funds.
No. Where are the Hamas leaders?
And also Qatar funds Hamas.
Yes.
It is a combination of international relief organizations.
Is this a state we should have a 400 million jet with the President of the United States on it?
Hold on. First of all, it was not given to him personally. I understand the optics of it, but it was not given to him personally. It was given to the U.S. government. And under that standard, no U.S. government should ever receive any gifts from any foreign countries whatsoever. It's not given to him personally, and not a violation of the.
Why is he trying to transfer it to his personal library?
He is actually okay. Again, he sent out a statement. This is way too in the weeds. If you want to keep on going it, we can.
It's a fundamental moral principle.
Okay, so under that fundamental moral principle, then, can you acknowledge, though, that President Trump is getting more done in a less period of time than any president we've seen, while our prior president did not even know what year he got elected? You understand the contrast here.
What aboutism again? I'm not a defender of Biden.
I'm not saying President Trump is far better
You
than
have
the
to
predecessor.
defend the person you spent millions to elect.
Hold on, I will defend every day of someone who ends an invasion.
That's all you do,
who brings down the price of oil, who is revitalizing the American economy,
Price of oil.
who's brokering peace, who stopped the
That's a
potential
lie.
nuclear war, who is bringing Iran to the table and bringing Russia to the table, someone who does not want armed conflicts with the greatest powers of our time. I will defend that endlessly.
You are living
What are you
in
defending?
a fantasy world of your own creation. So it's quite hard
You
to
can
engage
say that,
with.
but then disprove
But
it.
let's check on how Trump is doing in terms of diplomacy. Look, with the war in the Middle East, do you think it was a defensible decision to tell the Israelis you wanted Trump Gaza to agree for Israel to invade the Gaza Strip and to continue to murder thousands of innocent children and civilians in a pointless war? Is that in America's interest? Is that in humanity's interest?
Well, first of all, you should know something about Trump. There's something, if you realize with Trump over the last 10 years, he is quite the social media user and uses hyperbolic language at times. But let me ask you, in the conflict of Israel versus Hamas, who's the good guy?
Who's the good guy?
Hamas and the
Who's the good guy? That's what Judah Rad was referencing. What a fucking child. This is what Judah Rad was saying in the Discord. Like, he has and I hadn't seen this yet. I haven't watched any of these, by the way. Who's the fucking child? Can you, I'm sorry. That's Trump. Who's the bad guy?
Israeli government are evil, but I think also that there is
equally-
no
are they
justification.
Are they equally?
There is no justification for the murder.
No, Charlie Kirk. They are not equally evil. Israel is much, much, much more evil because they are much, much more powerful, and they have done much, much more damage in slaughtering the Palestinian people. Yeah, they're not equal. Israel, by far, is worse than Hamas.
And mutilation of thousands of innocent people and children in a futile.
Let's zero in on it.
There is no justification, Mr. Kirk, for invading hospitals, for bombing innocent populations, and dragging out a war which is damaging Israel and the West's security.
You've made that point, but
it's not a point; it's a moral truth, isn't it?
Yeah. It was also a moral truth that the war started because 1,300 Jews were killed and 200 were taken hostage. And when you declare
Wrong, he's gonna come out and be all tough. He's gonna put on his dad voice. No, there's something cringe as fuck when a person like Charlie Kirk thinks he's gonna go tough guy.
declare war on Israel, expect a firestorm in reaction. Let me finish, I let you talk. Israel, at its holiest day of the calendar year besides Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, Samat Torah, the 50-year anniversary of the Six-Day War. On Shabbat, Hamas invaded Israel, deciding to...
Do you see what I'm talking about when I said I would either have went to jail, walked off? There's no fucking way that someone yells at me and tells me to stop talking. Now we have a problem. Now we're definitely going to be yelling.
Go recklessly to music concerts, to homes, to kibbutzes, and taking 200 plus hostages. They knew what they were doing. In one of the most cloistered urban environments on the planet, 2 million people live in a place where it's impossible to wage war. Impossible. Where they wear civilian clothing, they violate every tenet of the Geneva Convention, and the IDF, when they do something right, they get no credit. When they do life-saving surgeries of a Gazan child, they get no credit. When they drop leaflets, they get no credit. But when they happen to bomb a place where they are operating...
When they happen to destroy every hospital in Gaza, when they happen to destroy schools with children in it, when they happen to kill 50, 60,000 people, and those are only the ones that are confirmed, and doesn't even count the tens of thousands more that have been permanently disabled, a mass amputation event, and it doesn't include the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably more, that are gonna die from disease and hunger. Why don't you give Israel credit when they do emergency surgery on a Gazan child? Like, okay, we kill 100,000 people, and now we're the bad guy.
Their military from, which we now know from third-party verified sources, hundreds of Hamas military operations are in mosques, schools, and hospitals. I'm sorry, the country where they were living in relative peace on October 6th, that all of a sudden we had a war, and Hamas started the war.
So if there's an American hospital or an Israeli hospital that has been taken over by Hamas, do they bomb that hospital? Do they bomb that hospital? Do they kill all the Israelis? Now, saying that might actually bite me in the ass, because how many Israelis died by IDF bullets on October 7th? That's something they don't bring up enough, I'd say.
I don't see people that were really upset about the 2 million Germans that were killed in World War II, civilians. A tragic truth of war is that civilians die. I don't like it, and you don't like it. And they brought it upon themselves. The only operation and entity to blame is the leadership of Hamas, not the Israeli government, for fighting this defensive war after they were invaded.
I'm no defender of the terrible pogrom that was launched against Jews on that day. But the justification for the death of innocents cannot be an infinite cycle of bloodlust. It cannot be killing tens of thousands of innocent civilians with a war with no end in sight, people who were not complicit in those atrocities. It cannot be bombing hospitals which children use. It cannot be bombing hospitals in which cancer patients are dying and starving in there. The deaths that have been inflicted, nobody knows the true toll, but somewhere between 50 and 100,000 people lie dead under the rubble. And what is left for Gaza except for to continue to suffer under Hamas? Because it turns out Netanyahu's political strategy has not worked. It has entrenched Hamas within the territories. To be a Christian, I would have thought, Mr. Kirk, would never have involved suggesting that the price for an atrocity must be an infinite cycle of bloodlust, that innocent people and the young population must be killed to avenge some kind of providential quest. How can you call yourself a Christian? Well, you just did.
I want to make sure we get our moral clarity straight before we proceed. No one likes what's happening in Gaza. No one with a heart or a soul or a mind likes when kids die. But you must understand who started the conflict so that you could end it correctly. And until Hamas brokers an unconditional surrender, of which they are unwilling to...
Then I'm forced to kill babies. I mean, what do you expect?
...to do. They could release the hostages and drop their weapons, and their lives would be spared. Instead, they are using children of Gaza as cannon fodder, financed by the Iranian mullahs and dragging the entire world into this conflict. So, I don't even know what we're debating at this point, other than I believe that Israel... I believe the facts. Israel was unconditionally attacked on October 7th. They're responding in kind. And I would just ask you a very...
What does that mean, unconditionally attacked? I don't know what that means. Someone needs to help me out. Those babies had it coming. Yeah, no shit.
Simple moral question. How should Israel have responded?
Not with the blanket carpet bombing of a city, not with bombing hospitals. Of course, some kind of military operation might have been necessary, but not murder on this scale. There is no justification for what is happening with the enormous death toll that is being produced. I really cannot see how you come here and you have the gall to lecture us on Christian morality and then sit here and justify the murder of thousands of civilians. And is it working, Mr. Kirk? Is Hamas dismantled?
I've never said that.
You just did.
Well, no,
this is your whole
in
thing.
war, these are called casualties of a war.
We're going to need to stop bringing this
Again,
to close.
I'm not going to justify every military maneuver of a 100,000 person army. Instead, what I will do is I'll be clear that there is a good...
What if it's like 100,000 babies though that die? You know, it just can't. You know, it's just too complicated. I just can't.
Good guy, and there is a bad guy.
Yeah.
I honestly...
Yeah, exactly this.
Well, instead, hold on.
There is a bad guy and there is a good guy. That is some childish ass shit.
It's interesting you say that, because a child who knows that Israel is the good guy, Hamas is bad, has a lot more wisdom than a student like yourself at Cambridge University.
I will be glad that I will not have been somebody who has defended the genocide of the Palestinian people. And I think you will have to reckon one day that you have reckoned with...
Interesting. I want to close on this. So can you tell me what African countries currently ongoing a civil war?
Believe it or not, I know about Sudan because I'm not an idiot.
How about what Southeast Asian country has an ethnic cleansing going on right now?
Myanmar.
Good. And you have strong opinions on both sides?
Unlike you, I take an effort to be informed about foreign policy, And to come to conclusions, you are a culture warrior. I believe when everything is done, Mr. Kirk, people will see you and the people you supported as corrupt, as selling the country out to the lowest bidder, and of doing irreparable damage to a country I'm sure we all deep down love.
Now this part I did see, and I love it. No, fuck that. Don't let him answer.
I think you will have to reckon with that
Difference
one, Mr. Kirk.
is when...
See ya! See ya! Stupid bitch! Stupid bitch! I fucking love it. I fucking love it.
The difference.
Nah, shut the fuck up. I don't give a fuck. Where's the other? Where's the other? Where's the other? Oh, she fucking cooks. I saw like short clips, like TikTok shit, but everybody was telling me she cooks.
So I'm a feminist. My question is about the role of women, though. What should women's role in public and private life look like, and what are the material benefits of that?
Oh, fuck,
Well, thank you for that. Can I take it? I don't even want to take this detour, but can we both agree on what a woman is?
Yes.
What
An
is a
adult
woman?
human female, it's a biological state of being that is also socially experienced. Can I please elucidate just one example of that social experience?
Yeah, I was going to answer your question, but sure, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So let's say you're a member of a tribe, and that in
I love that she's wearing a U.S. flag sweater, by the way. It's like, I can't really put like what the troll is, but it's a troll. Like she's memeing up there, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
that tribe, you have the biological female anatomy, and in order to become a woman in that tribe, you have to also get a tattoo. That's a social experience that's mapped onto biological reality.
So can a woman have a prostate?
Can a woman have a prostate? Biologically speaking, a woman is an adult human female that has a biological reality, but it's also social experience, right? So I don't...
Yeah, it's super easy. Like, can a woman have a prostate?
So as per my definition of woman, I would say that people who have a prostate are biologically male, but they can sometimes be socially treated as women.
Okay, got it. So women can have prostates. Got it. Okay. So you're a feminist that actually isn't just fighting for women, you're also fighting for men.
So, yes, men also experience harms from patriarchy, but
Oh, yeah. Please don't smile. I love that you could tell he's insecure about his teeth. Look, we usually, you want to be better. You don't want to go after things that people can't change. I don't care. Those dolphin teeth freak me out. That would be another reason why I can't debate him. I would look down. I would just pretend I have like some antisocial anxiety or something, and I can't look him in his face because those teeth fucking freak me out.
We're talking about the same feminism, though. Just make sure. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So men also experience harm from patriarchal domination, but I would argue that those harms come from that system of domination itself. In the same way, for example, this isn't a threat, but if I reached across and punched you in the face, then my hand might hurt, right? So are we understanding that there are patterns of power? So I would also fight for the rights of men as a feminist, just as I would fight for the rights of women.
Sure. Do you think women are happier than they were 40 years ago?
I think I would have a few responses to that. I think that women report more stress and dissatisfaction today because, not because they have more rights or because of feminism, but because they're under dual pressure to both excel professionally and also because...
You're allowed to illness shame RFK. You're allowed to cancer shame Biden. None of these people are protected. Just no fat shaming. Can't fat shame. Probably we need to tone down the slick homophobia with Trump. There's some stuff, but if it's this motherfucker gargling sand or a genocide enabler getting cancer, I don't really give a fuck.
Of the domestic labor in homes that is structured around outdated expectations. So, for example, studies like the OECD's Better Life Index.
You could definitely fathead shame Charlie Kirk and dolphin teeth shame Charlie Kirk. Yes.
show that women's life expectancy, education levels, professional achievements have risen in countries with higher gender inequality.
Exactly.
So I would argue that what you're calling unhappiness is actually visibility, because now we hear women expressing dissatisfaction,
That's
whereas in the
right.
50s we prescribed them Valium
Yes.
and we lobotomized.
Yeah. That's really rich. I didn't know women not to complain 50 years ago. That's funny.
We've always been
No, hold on a second. Why are suicide rates going up more for women?
I think that
Forget
encourages.
complaining. Materially, women are killing themselves more. Why is that?
I think that even if both men and women have become unhappier, men's suicide rates have risen as well, and that's also been.
So is cancer shaming just happy being a person we don't like? Man, you're making me think about this. We gotta think of the rules of, we gotta define cancer shaming. I guess that doesn't really work, right? Fat shaming is making someone feel bad that they're fat. I guess it wouldn't be cancer shaming. Maybe I was too quick with that one. I think I pulled the trigger too quick on that one. Cancer celebrating? You're allowed to be happy that Biden has cancer. You're allowed to not give a fuck.
Exponential. Can you at least concede that feminism offers only one potential explanation? There could be also other explanations.
Of course, obviously, but feminism is the glaring thing in front of us, where we have fertility rates down, we have marriage rates down, we have unhappiness up, and we did something in the 1960s out of the universities of Brady Friedan and Gloria Steinem and all these feminists that basically said, you're trapped in a home, go get a job, freeze your eggs, take birth control, and all of a sudden...
That is actually the highest form of ableism. Like, does this mean we can't make fun of you for only streaming bi-weekly? Wait, making fun of me for streaming? Oh, yeah, you could do that. Yeah. I thought you were, because I don't even, sometimes I can't do that. I can't do that. Making fun of me for not streaming at least bi-weekly, that's ableism, and I will report you straight to the ACA. And then you see how you like that in ableist jail.
Women are way unhappier than they were 40 years ago. And I just have to ask the question, why is that? Is it working? And maybe there are biological differences between men and women that we should respect. And that
I love this like false dichotomy that he makes, this false connection of people are unhappier. And they'll always kind of tell this same story, but from a perspective that helps whatever point they're trying to make. So women are unhappier now because we let them go to work and we blah 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 blah, right? But then it's like, wait, men are unhappy now because of feminism and no one gives a fuck about men. Wait, time out. So we agree that men and women are unhappier now than before. Okay. So we are unhappier now than before. Not men, not women. We humans are unhappy, and it has to be because trans. Am I understanding that correctly? It can't be the ever devolving quality of life that capitalism is bringing us. Can't be that. Can't be that.
deep down, a lot of women want to get married.
And also, by the way, why are there more divorces today? Why are there more single women today? Why are there more people not having children today? Because cis men suck. And that shit was accepted in in every decade, but in our lifetime, 80s, 90s, the aughts, when we can make jokes about peeking in women's locker rooms, when you can make jokes about pretending to be somebody else they're not so you can have sex with them. Like now we're in a place where we are woke. And that's why they have to call it the woke mind virus. because we are waking up. And men like us in the chat, hopefully all of y'all, are called weak and beta and shit like that. Nobody says that shit to my face, but they'll say weak, beta, and yada yada yada. Because why? The ultimate sign that I hate women is if I were to ever say to somebody, she's not gonna fuck you, bro, and the only thing he did was defend her. Hey man, actually she's right. That was the year that war happened. Bro, she's not gonna fuck you. So what that person is telling you, you are only ever going to agree with a woman or be nice to women for sex. That's it. And so what do women do? Like, yeah, I'm good. You know what? I'm good, actually. Even if I'm not gay, I might experiment a little bit. Okay, I'm not gay. I'm good with being single. How about that? Because men cannot keep their shit straight. How many stories do you have to hear of a boyfriend or a fiance or a husband murdering their wife, and you grow up in this shit, and you go, I'm good. Let me tell y'all something. If I was a straight woman, there's no fucking way. Like, every dude I meet, like, I'm like, this could be the one. This could be the one that fucking, you know, if I want to break up, it's not even about where they kill me. It's the woman has to know, every woman who dates, and this is a fucking fact, every woman who dates has to know, has to enter into that relationship with the knowledge that there is a much greater than 0 chance that she will get murdered if she ever decides to end this relationship. Just for ending it. She might get murdered. And she has to just be okay with that. I wonder why more women are single now than ever, and divorces happen more now than ever, and people are fucking unhappy. I fucking wonder why.
Have children. In fact, we should applaud it, and we should support it, and we should say it means nothing if you're going to go be a CEO of some shoe company or be some banker in London. What matters if you raise children and you have something to pass down long after you're gone.
I think I would bring 2 points to that. The first one is just really simple, which is that you can ascribe liberalism all you want as the cause of the unhappiness. I would argue something else. I would say that it's certain economic policy that has very little to do with the social acceptance of alternative lifestyles. I would say that we can recognize that income inequality across a vast swathe of Western countries has increased, which causes all kinds of social ills, a lack of social cohesion, housing price growth doesn't correspond with wage growth, monopolies increasingly become kind of emboldened to...
There's no way Charlie Kirk has the upper body strength to do stripper pole. No way.
Interfere with politics, and monopolies don't prioritize social health either. I think that those offer more compelling reasons for a decline in happiness than an increase in freedoms, because just one more thing, on an intuitive basis, generally speaking, people want more freedom, not less.
On her TikTok, she clarifies that she's talking like this. And also, by the way, is this? Oh, no, it's not on YouTube. This is not sped up. If she says they're given a certain amount of time and she had a lot of stuff that she needed to spit out, so that's why she was talking this fast, by the way.
So if that's true, why is it? Do you agree that the happiest women of the West are married with kids?
Yeah, I honestly, Moda, I would have to respectfully disagree. What I think it is, and I've actually talked about this a lot. There was somebody in my job who was like, "Yeah, well, you don't think there's a problem here?" I don't think so. Now, are there problems? Yes, but I don't know if it's we don't try anymore and things like that. I think people typically want things to work when you get married. People don't just like, oh, whatever. You know what it is? You know why people get married, divorced more today? It's because your grandmother couldn't. Your great-grandmother couldn't. The divorce rates are higher now because they can. You know, like they would have left all those bums. My grandma would have left when she could have. You know, I wouldn't even probably exist because half our kids wouldn't even be born. If you could always leave an abusive relationship, then this divorce rate would be that way no matter what. I I don't think it's, and this would be of no surprise to anybody. I don't think there are roles that need to be played as far as like man and woman. But what I do think that there needs to be, because I kind of, if you think about it, like how are there happy marriages and gay couples and and lesbian couples, right? Like you can't have a male and female in those kind of relationships. Like how does that work as far as roles? It's because it's not about gender roles. It's not about husband and wife. What it's about is compatibility and respect. And that's why I feel, and there's no way to know, right? I feel that if you can go back in time and give women the sort of autonomy that they have today, back then, they would have been leaving in droves then too. It just was illegal to. And even when they could, there was no system to support them. That's why we have alimony now and shit like that, That's why mothers tell their daughters, go get college more now than ever. Because maybe if I had went to college, I would have left your father, Anyways, that's just my thoughts.
I would have to look into it, but I think there are certain
and objectively we know that, right? The women with kids are not the ones tearing down statues, right? They're the ones that actually have obligations.
Does tearing down statues correspond to some kind of smiles per capita data set that I wasn't aware of?
Again, it's a little bit of a one-liner. The happy and the grateful. The happy and the grateful usually don't go burn down Wendy's in their spare time, of which we saw in our country all throughout a single summer. But as a side note, you would agree, objectively, study after study, survey after survey, that the women of the West that are married and have children, especially a lot of children, are far happier than even the ones that earn more money.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I would definitely agree with the fact that there are. So, but check this out though. I do agree with that. But think about it on the backside of what that means. So quick anecdote. When I joined the Air Force in '99, so I joined the Air Force in July. I was at the Security Forces School that fall, and I would meet my first wife. I would meet her in the fall, and we would know each other maybe 2-3 months or so. And then because we were going to be going to different bases, I asked her to marry me, and we got married. And by January, we get married. February, she's pregnant with our daughter. And I would say we rushed into marriage. Yeah. Weird. I don't understand why people to this day, I don't understand why people are ever surprised. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it, she's pregnant. Like, what happened? The condom broke? Oh, no, we don't use condoms. Like, why are you so surprised right now? Do you not know how babies are made? So long story short, I've told you guys plenty of times, I was not ready for marriage. I was immature. I was insecure. I was selfish. And I was a cheater. I was not faithful. And we went to 9 years. And eventually, of course, she left me. What's good about what people are doing is, and I'm not saying it's good to rush into marriage. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I think that it's good that when you enter a marriage and it was a bad idea to do it, right? That people are willing to leave. I think it's important that people recognize that if you are unhappy and you raise children in that, I'm not even talking about abuse, right? Let's set aside abuse. Let's set aside screaming. Let's just go with a loveless relationship. Those children are going to feel that. They're going to know that. And that is what they're going to model relationships off of. And then you're going to watch your son enter into a loveless marriage. And you're going to watch your daughter enter into a loveless marriage until one of them break the cycle. And so I'm not, yeah. Am I pro-life? Fuck no. Why the fuck would I be pro-life? I'm pro bodily autonomy. And so are you, actually. So are you. You're pro bodily autonomy too. It's just not for people with uteruses.
Related at the same age.
So I also don't think that happiness is a very good metric, and neither do you, because you think gay people shouldn't just pursue happiness by being gay. They have other moralistic considerations to be making. So I don't think smiles per capita is a particularly convincing way to measure whether or
Smiles per capita. I like that. I'm stealing that shit.
not we should encourage women to be autonomous. I think we should maximize agency within a fair system that has reasonable parameters because it's expedient, it's good for the economy, it's logical, it's the moral thing, because if we can't prove the material harms, we shouldn't discourage it. And also, self-reported studies is a really flawed way to do psychology. It's the week before my university exams right now, and I'm standing here explaining the basic methodology behind survey collection in sociology, which you don't even think is a real subject, to Charlie Kirk. If I took one of those surveys right now, I'd check extremely miserable, but so would a Palestinian child who's been torn to smithereens. How are we going to measure?
You would say extremely miserable?
No, I'm kind of making a joke.
No, I mean, but seriously, like, but hold on. I mean, like, that's an important point, though, is that the women in the West have it the best in the world, and yet they're way unhappier than women of sub-Saharan Africa. There's something fundamentally wrong here, because the women of sub-Saharan Africa have something that a lot of women in the West do not have. The women in the West have
What is he basing that off of? Is there data on the happiness of women in sub-Saharan Africa? Are we talking about the ones that just got done being said that they're getting raped and murdered? Are we talking about the ones that are experiencing genital mutilation due to fucking psychotic colonization that brought that bullshit from Europe that made it to where women enjoying sex was bad and a sin? Come on.
And they have good jobs. And the women of sub-Saharan Africa, they have a belief in the divine and they have kids. And maybe there's a biological undercurrent that is keeping a lot of women from realizing their full potential. And so without reading your phone and just, like, connecting.
I'm not really reading my phone.
Well, it's fine. Sure, then you can answer without it. Fair enough. Would you agree that it's a good thing that more women get married and have children in the West?
I would ask you, would you say that a sub-Saharan African woman who's experienced female genital mutilation and checks extremely...
I promise I did not watch this yet. I love it. She's my hero.
happy in a survey, and I also would check extremely happy in a survey. Who do you think would be objectively more happy, even if they both check the same answer?
No, okay.
He looks like Seth MacFarlane if Meat Canyon drew him.
So I fully, if you want to talk about how Islam mistreats women, we could talk all day long. Like, I'm all for that.
Yes.
Me too.
Okay, good. So we agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
We actually have
agree on
agreement.
many things.
And we should shut off Muslim immigration to the UK, right? We totally agree.
I think that all religious fundamentalism is bad, and if you take that logic, we should also not allow evangelical Christians into
Well, okay.
the UK
Hold
either.
on. So hold on a second. Hold on. That's funny. Hold on. Can you show me a single... Show me what would your example, because I have 50, of a single Christian country that you would say mistreats women, right?
America.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We had a female woman vice president. We had a female vice president, a female speaker of the House. Women earn more than men in America.
In Rwanda, female representation in government supersedes the UK by quite a lot. Did women get treated better in Rwanda?
Okay, I might be super off this. Like, is Rwanda Islamic? Like, I'm not totally sure. I don't think it is. Like, is it? Like, I don't know, actually. It's not. So, again, we were just talking about Islam. It's a little bit of a side note, but you must...
Then what is Rwanda? Like, don't let them pass that. Then what is Rwanda? If it's not Islam, what is Rwanda? Primary religion of Rwanda. Weird. Apparently it's Christian. Interesting. By a lot. 2% Muslim. 3% atheist. 4 plus 12 is 16. Plus 15 is 31. Plus 21 is 52. 92% from a 2022 census. 92% of Rwanda's Christian. So tell me more about how awesome God will bless a country if they just turn to him.
Be morally clear, because you brought up female genital mutilation, which is a teaching of the Islamic faith. But as a side note, like, again, this is very important, which is I'm not here to require you to do anything or not. I'm making a simple observation, which is objectively true regarding.
In 2023, women working full-time earned about 83 cents for every dollar earned by men. This is what I'm talking about. They sit there, and by the way, I didn't want to give him a view, so I ripped these. So we're not watching these from his channel, but we're gonna go to his channel, and we're gonna look at the comments real quick, just real fast, when we're done with this. And you're gonna see that they don't. Yeah, he did say that. They just make up shit. They just say whatever. Because here's the truth of it. And we know this is true. We know. They're grifters. They're absolute grifters. Let's not do walls of Spanish, only because moderators can't speak Spanish. And then I gotta sit there, and then I'm gonna be like, they read it all slow, cause I'm a no sabo kid. And I feel like, actually, you know what it is? I'm insecure with my Latino heritage, and now it's not. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, oh, you can't speak this guy. You can tell me you read that fluently? No, you can't. There's no way. This motherfucker's over there. You wanna? Hey, you know what? Speak Spanish. Speak Spanish. I guess people want to cut and paste, put that shit in Google, then lie. I know some now can read it.
The women of the West are miserable, and they're miserable for a reason, because we've told them to suppress how they are made by God and pursue something else and get a bunch of trinkets and get a bunch of promotions, and they end up.
Why did she let him off the gate? That was so easy, because it's obvious. All those countries, right? Congo, Rwanda, all those countries are Christian countries now. Because the Arab Empire didn't go all the way down there, right? I mean, that's why we have North Africa. Most of the African countries are Muslim because of the Arab and the Muslim Empire, right? And so who fucked up the southern parts? Christians. And she let him off the hook with that one, and arg.
At 38 years old, with a big flat in London, and they're miserable. And we should tell them to stop freezing their eggs and start finding their partner earlier and have lots of babies.
Yeah.
Yes. Members, 16, 17, just like Matt Walsh said. Didn't Matt Walsh even go younger? Did Matt Walsh say 14? Hold on, we gotta find that one.
Okay, I think I'd bring two just final points to this. First one is just really intuitive, right? Which is that if you actually care about women's happiness, then the solution is to structurally support them. That means universal childcare, shared legally enforceable parental leave, and in Nordic countries where women have high workforce participation and also some state support, they report higher life satisfaction than in more conservative countries, including America. So if your metric is happiness,
just use satisfaction surveys. You just told me they're BS.
So are satisfaction surveys bullshit or not? Because you told me they're bullshit.
Do you acknowledge satisfaction surveys or not? You just told me that they're BS. Do you think they're we can use that as data?
I don't think that
yes or no?
It is the only sole data set, but it is a data set that necessarily
you told me they're so flawed and you self-report. Okay, by the
okay, well, she knows what you accept. That doesn't mean she has to accept it. She knows what you accept, and now it's wrong. And so now that it doesn't agree with you, we're gonna go and we're gonna deflect. Got it.
Macro self-satisfaction data. I am correct. And you are right. When you have paid family leave, you are happier. I'm actually a proponent of that. At Turning Point USA, we pay for 6 months when somebody has a child. I think there's a lot of agreement we can have on that. We need to encourage having more children. I think the Hungarian child policy is phenomenal. We should look at that because the greatest thing that is plaguing the West is we're not having enough kids. And it's not just bad because we won't have a future. It's also bad because the present is awfully miserable for too many women as well.
Okay, in which case I think we get...
Do I start bringing this to a close, please?
Okay, I think just one final thing, which is that in which case we get to a really interesting argument about what parts of womanhood can be demarcated to the social and what kinds of womanhood can be demarcated to biological. So, for example, my anatomy is demarcated to the biological, but the fact that I might potentially be a better nurturer than a man, I would demarcate that to the social, you might demarcate that to the biological, in which case we have differing moral scales of value. I would ask why we should necessarily prioritize your moral scale of value, which prioritizes things like the birth rate, when in actual fact there are various other moral scales of value. And if you yourself are a free market American, why is it the case that you would not, like the previous speaker noted,
I've already answered.
Extend personal freedoms towards all spheres, including a private sphere?
I believe in absolute truth claims, and it's absolutely wrong and bad when a society stops having kids to replace their own population. And then you have to import the third world, and you become the third world. It's bad.
I mean, how many kids don't have parents in foster homes right now? How many children? Hey, let's look that up. Let's look that up right there. Let's how many children are in adoption centers and foster homes in the U.S.? On any given day, over 368,000 children are living in the U.S. foster care system. Over 108,000 of these children are eligible for adoption. But our society should keep making more children. All right.
I disagree, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, last one. So this one is a professor.
Marvelous. Thank you. A very, very short question.
Oh, wait, sorry. I don't know what the question is.
Is forbidden.
Shut the fuck up.
Free
I don't
copy,
care.
like
Shut
clicking
up.
for.
You're stupid. All right. Oh, they didn't say it.
Israel versus Hamas. Good guy versus bad guy. Russia versus Ukraine. Who's the good guy and who's the bad guy?
Both are bad, one is worse.
Which way round?
Russia is worse than Ukraine.
Okay, so why haven't we pursued that?
What do you mean?
Well, it seems to me that in the whole of the current US proposition, that Ukraine is being the bad guy.
In what way? We funded Ukraine upwards to $200 billion.
Absolutely. But
we just signed a mineral deal with Ukraine, not Russia.
Yeah, but
As
you
a
are
quid pro
expecting
quo.
Ukraine
Yeah.
to give up 20% of its territory to someone who invaded it.
Well, is Crimea part of Russia?
Not just asking it to give up 25% of its territory, and not just Crimea, but the minerals rights are payment to help, because Trump said that he's not going to help him unless he gets those rights.
Or Ukraine?
Ukraine.
That's where we don't agree.
Well, I'm afraid that's part of international treaty. That's not up for grabs.
Okay, hold on. You guys got to hear that one. Hold on. Stupid fuck.
Someone who invaded it.
Well, is Crimea part of Russia or Ukraine?
Ukraine.
That's where we don't agree.
Well, I'm afraid that's part of international treaty. That's not up for grabs.
Well, it's interesting. I mean,
that's
hold on. I mean,
was it? Let me see.
Even Zelensky has said he's willing to give up Ukraine.
No. America signed the agreement that gave Ukraine Crimea.
Right.
When the Soviet Union ended.
Right. It was done. First of all, it never should have been done. It was largely ceremonial.
No.
But however, it was annexed under Obama. Yes, and it was a mistake. And it should be given back to Russia as a sign of good gesture to end this conflict. Okay. But who's currently controlling Crimea? Where was the Russian Navy headquartered in World War II? Where was the end of World War II? This is very important.
I'm not doubting that. I'm just saying that if we're being logical on what has happened, that you're now arguing against that flow. And I don't understand it. Because actually, why is Ukraine the bad guy?
No, I said they're bad. They're not the bad guy.
Yeah, well, you said they were both bad, but one was more bad.
Correct,
than the other.
yes.
So why is Ukraine bad?
Well, there's a lot wrong with Ukraine. First of all, they're not a democracy. Zelensky refuses to hold an election.
Well, no, he can't hold an election.
Oh, wait, did Churchill hold an election during the war?
Because under his constitution...
Hold on,
This is the last one. This is the last one. We're at 3:45. Yeah, we're long. Giggity.
Lincoln held election during the war. That's not true. He can call an election. He can call a snap election. He's full dictator of the country.
No.
Because he knows that the people of Ukraine would kick him out immediately because he's deeply unpopular. In fact, if he wanted to show a statement to the world, he would call an election and win by 80% and say, see, I'm super popular. So that's number one. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with a person being propped up as a government we're sending $200 billion to that refuses even to face his voters.
Okay, I can't agree with you factually on that at all.
No, it wasn't Charlie Kirk. It was Dave Rubin. It was Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, Matt Christensen, and Taylor Hansen. All pieces of shit.
Okay. I mean, constitutionally, Ukraine is not able to hold an election because it's under military law at the moment, and that's just a matter of fact.
Again, he can, as a prime minister or president, he can...
Oh, shit. Yeah, I just saw you in there, Rough Rider. What's up? Yeah, anytime. Actually, that's literally why I said, you know what? I'm not ending this stream until I know Rough Rider saw some of it. So.
Okay, all right, we're going to just go back and forth. He can't sign an executive order and change their constitution. Okay. Neither can the American president either. So.
Okay. he could even do a ceremonial election to see where he actually stands with the people.
I think we call those opinion polls.
Yes, and they're very negative.
Firmly ahead in the opinion.
Again, but you would agree that a person that holds on to power without the election of the sovereign is pretty questionable.
No, not in those circumstances.
Okay, then we disagree.
No, okay, that's fine.
It's constant. He's what he's trying to explain to him is constitutionally they are at war and we cannot hold elections right now. We literally did the same thing in World War II. Was that bad? Were we suddenly a dictatorship? We're much closer to a dictatorship now than we were when was it Eisenhower? Who the fuck it was? 8 years.
Fine. But give me another reason why Ukraine...
They are the most corrupt country in Europe that never even met the most remote standards of joining NATO. Do not know where a lot of this money is going.
I don't disagree.
Franklin Roosevelt. Yeah.
But the most corrupt country in Europe, are you sure about that?
I'd have to think. I'd have to double or triple think about that, but they're very corrupt.
No, but it is comparable. It is comparable when we're talking about why our country did it. You know what I mean? Meaning, if the world was at war and we weren't, then we wouldn't have changed presidents, right? So we went to war, had a lot of people go to war, and the president stayed over. The way that Ukraine is getting fucked up right now, like the whole country is getting bombarded, you know? It's not even like Ukraine went to a different country to go have a war like we've always done. We're talking about like the war coming to them. It is constitutionally sound for them to pause on their elections. And he's saying, well, I mean, then you need them to rewrite their constitution is what you're saying. I don't know.
Okay, so that's a little bit doubtful. It's not absolute.
Well, I mean,
there's plenty of corruption around. I mean, let's face it, we are talking about comparison with some of the...
Does my eyes deceive me? Lo tigre! What do you mean, I guess? What, you can't be excited? Is that like, oh, I'm not that excited? Damn.
Well, of course, but we're not giving them money. They're giving us money. That's a difference, right? Saudi Arabia.
Oh, so it's fine.
Well, hold on a second.
It's morally acceptable to take money from corrupt people.
Well, hold on. First of all, as far as morally acceptable, you do what's best in the benefit of your country. And so, for example, we were allied with Russia during the Second.
Yeah, me too, actually, considering that before the stream I was falling asleep and I forced myself to stream, and now we're in it. We're in it to win it. We're on the last video right now. You're catching the end here.
World War, and I'm glad we were. And I would ask you,
don't forget,
how much money is too much money to send to Ukraine? We're at $200 billion right now.
I don't think you have to send any more money to Ukraine.
We agree.
I think you have to agree to support them as a free country and perhaps sell them weapons, like you're very happy to sell weapons to less free countries. And I think Europe will pick up the slack, as we ought to. And I don't disagree with some of the comments about Europe not looking after its own security.
fighter jets.
I just don't get
you
this
can't see
approach,
it. Even if it's right next
which
to it,
was
you can't see
supposedly to end the war.
Low TIGR.
Low TIGR. Lo Tigre.
Fighter jets. You can't see it. You literally.
And with a gifted sub out here.
It can't see.
Cypher, the homie. All day, day. That's what's up. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Quickly, which now seems to be elongating it, and in doing so, throwing up a smokescreen of very, very...
Just in case, I think everybody here knows, but just in case there's somebody out there who doesn't know, Cypher World, go check it out on YouTube. Give them a follow. He's like a real YouTuber. Look, what are you at now? Yeah, 80,000 subs. Like last year, we were bitching about like not growing, and then all of a sudden, this dude wants to become like the next Mr. Beast, like immediately.
facts, if they are facts at all.
70, yeah, this is almost like 80,000, and like 79.2 of them are from the last year.
About how things occurred, which actually isn't helping things. And if people can't see that Putin is stalling, I'm just. Really
I agree with you. I think he might be stalling.
And therefore, and I think even your president has acknowledged the fact that he thinks he might be stalling.
That's correct. So we don't have a
Which is the only reason why Charlie Kirk is going to say, I agree, I think he's stalling, because Trump has allowed him to say that. Like, Daddy has said you can say that, and now you can say it.
disagreement there.
No, we don't. No,
we just have a disagreement about the efficacy of tactics, and we don't know. And I'm willing to say we could be wrong.
No. Oh, well
of course you could be wrong in life.
Yeah. I mean, we could all be wrong. But actually bringing that war to an end
but I'm not.
consistently actually isn't going very well. And I would just
That's it right there. That's the goal.
Tactics have been used are perhaps not the best. And they are certainly inconsistent with what's going on in the Middle East and how America has been treating parties in the Middle East. But I've had enough of your time.
Fair. No, that's a fair contention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Just dog walked all night. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to show right before we're done. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Let's just look for it. Charlie Kirk. My bad. Test. There we go. Charlie Kirk, Cambridge debate. YouTube.
Folks, let me tell you.
All right, check this out. This is
F-35s.
Oh shit!
Jets.
Oh shit, son!
You can't see it. Even if it's right next to it, it can't see.
Dot.
Kill Will Q. Kill Will IQ.
F-35s.
Kill Will IQ.
Fighter jets. You can't see it. You can't see it. Even if it's right next to it, it
Damn.
can't see it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm gonna.
35s.
Wait, why is it going through that?
You can't see it. You can't
Alerts.
see it. Even if it's right next to it, it can't see.
Dot.
I don't know why it's coming through that channel. I'm sad now.
F-35s. Fighter jets. You can't see it. You can't see it. Even if it's right.
Skip. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's dope.
F-35s.
Wait, I thought I stopped it. Hold on. Okay, now it's muted. Man, that's what's up. Thank you very much for that. That's awesome. I want to show you guys this real quick. This is why Charlie Kirk would post these videos. Charlie Kirk, and you know what? I am going to take back something I said earlier. I'm gonna say I was wrong. When you weigh right, the pros and cons of taking somebody like Charlie Kirk and allowing him to debate at Cambridge University, like how old that school is, how prestigious that school is. Um, you know that none of his supporters are going to none of his supporters are going to change their minds. And all you've done is add legitimacy to Charlie Kirk. If I thought any of his supporters were going to like, oh, now they're going to see. Unfortunately, the audience is there solely to wait for a gotcha on Charlie. And when they think one happens, they clap like a bunch of trained seals. So when he's outwitted and shown to not have as much information about a topic, it's a gotcha. Crowd is clapping like a bunch of seals. Charlie gets, oh yeah, Charlie does get cooked. It stands. This is the audience fault. I give Charlie so much props for holding it down and not backing it down in leftist territory. By the way, Cambridge, very, very famous for all their students being communists and socialists. Cambridge is literally where communists says their school, their kids do. Or so, many people are saying. Listening to people like this makes me even more happy to be American. So they're all like this, right? That's a professor. He like knows shit and stuff. Like, that's a professor. UK is cooked. Did you hear how stupid he was? Not smart like Charlie Kirk. $3.39 million subscribers, 371,000 views in a single day. I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to plug those numbers into the Oracle. At 3.3 million subscribers. Estimate how much money he would make off a video that got 371,000 views in 24 hours. For a YouTube channel with 3.39 million subscribers like Charlie Kirk's video, a video that receives 371,000 views in 24 hours would likely generate an estimated revenue of 742 and 1,855 just from ad views alone. These additional figures do not include other income sources such as sponsorships, sales, channel memberships, which could further increase earnings. So this guy just gets paid. He just gets here's a chunk of cash. And then when you look at his other, what did he say? Most uneducated fools who will believe the world's of an average, the words of an average hack with a platform. These are not intelligent people that are brainless followers who don't have can't have an opinion of their own. 100%. I wanted to see something. So 371,000. Right. Look at this. Look at this. What are we saying? 3.39. 3.39. Yeah, here's a big one here. 200. Still not as big as Cambridge. 9.4. Oh no, there's a new. Okay. 121,000, 84,000. Now they get up as they get longer because they get replayed. Excuse me. But these clips The girl, 589,000. The dude, the extremely bouncy dude, almost 1 million. Like, these are his best performing. All three of these are going to break 1 million. All three of these are going to break 1 million. And for one reason and one reason only, it was a debate that happened at Cambridge that his viewers will think he won. All this does is enrich them and gets the word out even further to people. It kills me how much they complain about the money being sent to Ukraine, but justify the money being sent to Israel. Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. That's a big ass diamond. Oh, it's hidden underneath. Hold on, who was that? What was going on there? Oh, there we go. Let's put those sounds back on. Cypher World used 100 biddies. Thank you, appreciate that. That's a good problem to have, having to mute that though, because Cool Willie Q come out here and say, here, let me shower you a little bit. Let me spoil you. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for the bits, Cypher. Thank you for the sub and the gifted sub, and Willie Q with the gifted subs. That is very super dope. That said, ladies and gentlemen and MBs, or kings, queens, and cosmic beings, I might steal that one. I think I'm gonna steal that one because he made it up, but he doesn't use it enough. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you don't use it enough, you don't use it, you lose it. I might have to take that one. But that is the end of the stream. I'm Robo. This is Left Face TV. You can catch me every Thursday for sure. You know, the Left Face is going to be on Mondays and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. You know, just look for the notification. But for sure, we're going to be out here Thursdays, every Thursday at 7 p.m. over on the YouTube channel Blurred Without Fear. You should have seen it. Actually, it's right there. It's going to come back around, but it's just about to get off the screen there. And I really appreciate this. I really appreciate the views and you guys sticking around. Today was a long one. I'm gonna be sticking to, you know, between 2 and 3 hours. But you know what? Rough Rider wasn't half wrong. I definitely am making up for lost time, so we're good. We're good. Nerds of Culture. Did I not say the name? Nerds of Culture every Thursday at 7 p.m. That's how you know I'm tired. I had a thought. I think it fell off halfway through, but I got the YouTube channel and the timeout. I think I forgot to say Nerds of Culture, where we talk about, you know, the culture with a dash of salsa. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Get out there, make a difference, be safe, and I don't know about Rivals, because I'm in the middle of Kingdom Come right now, and I'm half asleep, and I just wanna play. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to play some Kingdom Come. That shit. By the way, pick it up. Kingdom Come 2 or whatever it's called. That shit is pretty dope. This is pretty dope. All right, see y'all like in 3 weeks. Yeah, that one too. Actually, I did buy it. I have it. I don't actually forgot I had it. Maybe I would have played that instead. All right, I'm out of here. I love you guys. Take care of yourself. I'm out.